Chapter 1. Reborn as the son of Tycoon. In the Guangyuan Heavenly Domain. Located in the eastern wilderness, the Nangong clan stands among the four great powers, occupying the southern territory. The other three are Baiwuguo, Dongqing City, and the Shihai tribe. Each direction is dominated by a formidable force, governing vast expanses of 1 billion miles. It can be said that each of these four powers, when mentioned, manages realms as extensive as 10 Earths. At this moment, Nangong Hao, who has traversed into this world, sits upon a small bed softer than any sofa, indulging in sweet, juicy fruits while being flattered by beautiful women, something he had scarcely dared to dream of in his past life. It is worth noting that in his previous life, Nangong Hao was merely a destitute individual on Earth, barely surviving on a meager salary, too timid to pursue relationships in his 20s. Now, however, he is the direct heir of the Nangong clan. Though merely 3 years old, he relishes experiences that eluded him for over 20 years in his former life. He dines on dragon liver, drinks phoenix marrow, and is attended by servants. Bathing is accompanied by maidens, and he finds beauty warming his bed before slumber. His life is filled with privileges that would make countless otaku green with envy. Nangong Hao feels as if he has reached the pinnacle of existence from the moment of his birth. Indeed, the old adage holds true, he reflects. The wealthy rely on technology, while the impoverished depend on mutations. And us mere mortals seeking to alter our destinies can only rely on reincarnation. Nangong Hao is filled with emotion. Suddenly, a vast wave of energy resonates, accompanied by a resounding chime that reverberates through the heavens and the earth. Nangong Hao feels as if his very soul is being stirred, igniting an inexplicable excitement within him. What is happening? He muses, bewildered, his voice still somewhat childish at the tender age of 3. A beautiful maid nearby respectfully responds, "Young master, it is the Nangong clan's imperial artifact, the Hantian bell, ringing. Today marks your 3rd birthday celebration, and it serves to welcome esteemed guests. Please allow me to assist you in bathing, so you may attend the ceremony." Nangong Hao's expression shifts as he recalls the significance of the day. Today celebrates his 3rd birthday, and he is to awaken his innate constitution. The Guangyuan Heavenly Domain is a realm of cultivation, where the most revered are the powerful cultivators. To become a strong warrior, one must possess talent, opportunity, resources, and diligence, each element indispensable. When it comes to diligence, Nangong Hao lacks nothing. The spirit of a worker, the soul of a laborer. We laborers are indeed the elite among men. Even reincarnation cannot diminish the tenacity of our resolve. As for resources, the Nangong clan, being one of the 4 great powers of the eastern wilderness, certainly lacked for nothing. However, opportunity is a more complex matter. Yet, being born into such a prominent family is ample proof that Nangong Hao's fortune is undoubtedly favorable. At least he is far luckier than those born into poverty. Lastly, there is talent. In the context of this world, talent refers to one's constitution. Various constitutions exist, such as the Chaos Body, the Innate Tao Body, and the 9 Calamity Phoenix Body. Each constitution holds potential and serves unique purposes. Some may absorb others' spiritual energy or convert attacks for their own use. Others may naturally resonate with various laws, allowing for accelerated cultivation. And there are even peculiar bodies that grow stronger with each death. The awakening of such constitutions typically occurs at the age of 3. After all, the sooner the awakening, the better, for infants under 3 possess frail bodies. Thus, families of means strive to nourish their infants with rare treasures before this age. Once the child reaches 3, their young body has adapted to this world, and various stimulating methods are employed to awaken their constitution. In truth, many ordinary individuals lack any constitution. But Nangong Hao is different. He is the direct descendant of the Nangong clan. His ancestors have produced a quasi-emperor and have contended with countless prodigies for the title of emperor of the Guangyuan Heavenly Domain. Though his ancestors were unmatched in power, their strength fell short against a top-tier genius, who used them as a stepping stone to ascend to the throne. Thus, the ancestors of the Nangong clan remain forever at the threshold of the quasi-emperor realm. Nevertheless, even at the quasi-emperor level, one can purify and enhance their bloodline, as well as that of their descendants. That ancestor of the Nangong clan, through sheer will, improved his bloodline, allowing countless generations to ascend alongside him. While bloodlines may not significantly aid in cultivation or battle, they can facilitate the awakening of powerful constitutions. From that quasi-emperor ancestor onward, every descendant of the Nangong clan can awaken a constitution. Whether strong or weak, an awakening is inevitable. Among them, the most formidable is none other than Nangong Hao's father. The king of the underworld, Nangong Yi, When Nangong Yi awakened the Undying Dominance body, it ranked among the top 10 on the ancient rankings. As a result, his cultivation progressed at an astonishing rate, and his combat prowess was unparalleled. In less than 300 years of cultivation, Nangong Yi reached the Saint Realm, capable of creating a small world and even leaving the Guanyuan heavenly domain to engage in other realms and participate in battles beyond the domain elite of this world. Later, Nangong Yi captivated the renowned Queen of Flowers, Hua Shui, with his charisma. Hua Shui herself was an Ancient Millennium talent, possessing a constitution ranked among the top 30 on the ancient rankings, the Flower Demon Body. Together, this couple suppressed all other powers in the Eastern Wilderness, leaving the Nangong clan unrivaled. However, both of these super talents mysteriously disappeared 6 months ago. Now, their child, Nangong Hao, has become the hope of the next generation of the Nangong clan. All members of the clan hope for Nangong Hao to awaken a super powerful constitution, leading the Nangong clan to glory. Perhaps, one day, he may even contend for the imperial throne that once seemed just within reach. Yet, only Nangong Hao is aware of one crucial fact. The reason his parents vanished from the Nangong clan 6 months ago was to seek divine elixirs for him. They discovered that Nangong Hao's body harbored an inherent flaw. Though he bore the bloodline of the Nangong clan, he was in fact a waste unable to awaken a constitution. Nangong Yi and his wife sought extraordinary elixirs to create a constitution for Nangong Hao. Having traversed into his mother's womb, Nangong Hao retains vivid memories of how Hua Shui cradled him. Weeping and apologizing, he even overheard a shocking secret from his parents, one he swore to protect at all costs. For if this secret were to surface, it would be far more catastrophic than his inability to awaken a constitution. If he cannot awaken a constitution, he may only face ridicule. But should that secret be exposed, the very foundation of the Nangong clan could crumble. Nangong Hao sighed, realizing that every family has its burdens. He never expected that ascending to greatness would come with such a multitude of troubles. Surrounded by 4 maidens, one assisting with his bath, another helping with mouthwash, and yet another draping a brocade robe upon him prepared for the ceremony. Once they finished, the bell tolled once more. The imperial artifact Hantian Bell, which once participated in the contest for the imperial throne, possesses formidable abilities to manipulate space. The first chime welcomed guests entering the Nangong clan, bypassing the protective array. This time, a spatial passage materialized before Nangong Hao, inviting him to the ceremonial hall. The numerous maidens immediately knelt, exclaiming in unison, "We bid farewell to the young master." Nangong Hao sighed, glancing back at the opulent hall, the fragrant delicacies, and the beautiful maidens. He suspected that soon, he would bid farewell to all of this. After all, how could the Nangong clan properly care for a waste? Especially one who has lost his parents. "Mother and father, please return soon. I cannot bear this." With a wry smile, Nangong Hao stepped into the spatial passage. His small figure appeared somewhat forlorn, in an instant. Nngnji Ho arrived at the ceremonial hall, where a multitude of esteemed guests had already gathered. The Nngnji family believed that with such illustrious parents, Nngnji Ho could not possibly be lacking in talent. Moreover, for countless generations, no useless offspring had emerged from the Nngnji lineage. To maintain their reputation and let everyone know that their prodigious descendant had perfectly awakened his potential, the Nngnji family had not only invited the other 3 prominent factions from the East Wilderness region to witness the event, but also summoned numerous leaders from first-rate powers and renowned rogue cultivators. Even forces from the West Barbarian region, North E region, and South D region were watching through special treasures that enabled remote live broadcasts, similar to the network. Live streams Nngnji Ho had known on Earth. Realizing this, Nngnji Ho could not help but smile bitterly. Soon, the world would know of his so-called uselessness. Dressed in a white robe adorned with golden thread and the emblem of the vermilion bird, his feet clad in white tiger boots, and wearing a Qinglong crown atop his head, Nngnji Ho hung a sacred-grade Xuanwu jade pendant from his waist. These exquisite treasures, revered as the treasures of many smaller factions, were worn casually by Nngnji Ho, showcasing the profound heritage of the Nngnji family. Despite being only 3 years old, he possessed a charming appearance, though it leaned more towards cuteness than handsomeness. Yet, curiously, an aura of innate genius radiated from him. Standing calmly before the crowd, the spiritual energy invoked by the treasures swirled around him, and a celestial aura enveloped him, making him resemble an ethereal child. Descended from the heavens, his extraordinary demeanor was rare in the world. It is known that cultivation enhances one's aura and even beautifies one's appearance. However, Nngnji Ho's flawless form seemed to be a masterpiece meticulously crafted by a supreme creator, a pinnacle of perfection. Every guest present, upon seeing Nnjng Ho, could not help but silently give him a thumbs up, praising him as one destined for greatness. The envoys from the other three major factions in the East Wilderness region exchanged glances, recognizing the wariness reflected in each other's eyes. Observing this child's divine presence, it was evident that he would soar to unimaginable heights, necessitating preparations in advance. Although the men were concerned, they managed to endure it. However, when the women laid eyes on Nnjng Ho, they became flustered, their gazes sparkling with admiration. One adorable child, I just want to hold him close and squeeze him. How wonderful it would be if he were my little brother. I would give everything for him. Shameless. What can you, as an older sister, offer him? I would rather be a childhood bride to the Nnjng family. Husband, hurry and propose to the Nnjng family, then we can go home and strive to have a daughter soon. The excitement among the women was uncontrollable, and had it not been for the decorum of the Nnjng family, they would have likely rushed forward to snatch Nnjng Ho away. It would be an exaggeration to say these women were overwhelmed by maternal affection, yet it seemed too early to label them as infatuated admirers. Nnjng Ho took note of their gazes and could not help but mutter, "A bunch of old perverts. Him only 3 years old. Can't you wait until I grow up?" Yet, he considered the likelihood that once they discovered he lacked any potential, their interest would wane. With a sigh, he felt as though the heavens and earth dimmed, eliciting a wave of sympathy from the women. Nnjng Patriarch, please commence the ceremony. Can't you see that Hoer is already weary from sighing? He must be frightened. Could you men please soften your gazes when looking at my Hoer? Indeed, let the Nnjng Patriarch keep it simple. Hoer certainly possesses a supreme physique, so there is no need for unnecessary fuss. The Nnjng family members could not help but feel a headache coming on. Whose child is this? You all call him Hoer so intimately. However, the Nnjng family naturally felt protective of their child. The current patriarch, Nnjng Xing, stepped forward, his gaze sweeping over the assembly with pride as he declared, "First, I would like to thank everyone for attending. Today marks the 3rd birthday of my family's descendant, Nnjng Ho. As you all know, there are traditions to uphold, and since many cannot wait any longer, I shall refrain from further elaboration. Hoer, quickly enter the refining pool. I have prepared the essence of sacred beast blood for you, along with 3 immortal divine herbs, which will assist you in perfectly awakening your potential." The anticipation among the Nnjng family surged, eagerly awaiting the moment Nnjng Ho would shed his mortal form and transform into a dragon. Nnjng Ho sighed again, lamenting the waste of such precious resources on his awakening. Within the vast expanse of the Guanyin heavenly domain, numerous beings existed, including demon beasts capable of cultivation and immense power, with some even having attained the status of a demon beast emperor. When demon beasts reach the pinnacle of cultivation, they become unparalleled sacred beasts, their strength on par with that of sages. Because of the unique nature of the demon beast race, in actual combat, they are often superior to human cultivators of the same level. Reflecting on his sage parents who had gone missing, Nnjng Ho felt an unsettling sensation as he prepared to refine himself with sacred beast blood, as if he were using his own parents' essence. Are my parents being sacrificed for this? He silently critiqued as he stripped off his garments and stepped into the refining pool. The heat was intense and overwhelming. The moment he entered the pool, he felt as if he were being cooked alive, knowing it was the various energies within the refining pool at play. His body felt as if it were being torn apart, only to be reassembled again and again. The pain was unbearable, pushing him to the brink of collapse. He wished he could faint. After all, if he lost consciousness, he would no longer feel pain, and when mocked later for failing to awaken his potential, he would be less agitated. Yet, Nnjng Ho could not succumb to unconsciousness. He could only endure the excruciating agony while being scrutinized by countless pairs of eyes. Everyone was watching, eager to discover what kind of potential he would awaken. Based on the vast experience of the Guanyin heavenly domain over countless years, those with strong bloodlines would inevitably possess formidable potentials. The stronger the potential, the greater the energy required for its awakening. Nnjng had absorbed the entire essence of 3 sacred beasts to awaken his indomitable physique. As his son, Nnjng Ho was expected to be at least equally strong, if not more, so even if he were weak, it would not be to a significant degree. However, as they observed, the crowd began to sense something amiss. The essence of the sacred beasts and the power of the immortal divine herbs in the refining pool showed no signs of being absorbed. Logically, these elements should be absorbed by the one submerged, resulting in a powerful stimulation that would lead to an awakening of potential. Yet, Nnjng Ho showed no signs of absorption. How could he awaken any potential? Was it possible that he lacked any potential? This was unthinkable. Not only did the NNGNG family refuse to believe it, but even the guests were incredulous. Dragons beget dragons. Phoenixes beget phoenixes. How could the son of two geniuses possibly be a failure? No one believed NNGNG Ho could be a failure. They merely thought the time had not yet come. Yet, 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed, 3 hours. The members of the NNGNG family could no longer keep up their smiles, their faces laden with concern. Patriarch NNGNG Xing's expression turned ashen, utterly bewildered by what was transpiring. Could it be that NNGNG Ho truly lacks any potential? A small voice of doubt emerged from the crowd of observers. Upon hearing this, everyone felt a chill run down their spines, hastily pushing the speaker forward while retreating, fearing to be implicated. The unfortunate individual turned pale, quickly kneeling and begging for mercy. Nangong Hao, unwilling to waste time in vain suffering, decisively rose from the refining pool and, with an apologetic gaze, addressed Nangong Xiong. Patriarch, I truly possess no aptitude, and thus have wasted everyone's time. The resources within the refining pool should be stored away for the use of my other siblings in the future. Bang! With a resounding slap, Nangong Xiong shattered the nearby table, his face a mask of fury, and his eyes blazed with an intensity that could incinerate Nangong Hao. How could he not be enraged? This gathering was intended to showcase the genius of his family's younger generation to countless onlookers. Yet, what was the outcome? Nangong Hao is anything but a genius, squandering a pool of precious herbs and publicly bringing disgrace upon himself. In the years to come, it was feared that the Nangong family would become a laughingstock, not only in the Eastern Wilderness region, but throughout the entire Guang Yuan Heavenly Domain. No, there was no need to wait for the future. Even at this moment, many among the spectators were reveling in schadenfreude. Nangong Xiong and the other members of the Nangong family could already envision the torrent of ridicule and mockery they were about to endure. Ding! System energy has accumulated sufficiently, and the sign-in system has been successfully activated. Please, host, proceed with your first sign-in at the designated location. The lead Dian. You will receive the reward. Supreme Physique, randomly selected type. Just as Nangong Hao wore a bitter smile, bracing himself for the onslaught of ridicule, a mechanical voice resonated within his mind. Nangong Hao was taken aback, then elated. The golden opportunity had arrived. Though delayed, it had finally come. Chapter 3. Is it a good idea for Laozi to commit suicide to entertain you? I said, Master Nangong, your invitation to us. Are we here to witness the refinement of your family's talented progeny, or perhaps to observe him in the bath? Or are you planning to perform a face-changing act collectively? We certainly do not have the time to indulge in your frivolities. With a smirk on his face, the envoy from Baiwuguo, one of the 4 formidable forces in Dongwugu, spoke. The representatives from the other 2 factions remained silent, wary of unexpected developments. However, the second and third-rate forces that staunchly supported Baiwuguo felt compelled to chime in. The Nangong family had truly suffered a significant disgrace. The so-called genius had turned out to be a worthless individual devoid of any potential. I mean, with so many witnesses, it feels utterly embarrassing. How could 2 geniuses produce such a failure? If they are not biological parents, I have long suspected the unfaithfulness of Baiwa Xianzi. Hush! Do not utter such harsh truths carelessly. Even if one must speak, let it be in hushed tones. A chorus of malicious whispers ensued, all lacking good intentions. Even the women who previously admired Nangong Hao could not help but regard him with pity and compassion. Yet, despite their sympathy, none dared to voice their thoughts. In the realm of cultivation, particularly among noble families, lacking potential equates to losing all possibilities. Moreover, they had their own selfish motives. These noble ladies, typically elegant and regal, proud daughters of heaven and stunning beauties pursued by countless suitors, now harbored dark thoughts of expelling Nangong Hao from the family. For if that were to happen, they could confidently bring Nangong Hao home, feeling justified in claiming him as their own. The idea of nurturing a young boy was tantalizing. Meanwhile, the members of the Nangong family wore expressions of utter despair. They indeed contemplated discarding Nangong Hao. Nangong Xiong shot a cold glance at the representatives from Baiwuguo and gritted his teeth as he ordered, "Take Nangong Hao away." His anger was so intense that he had abandoned the affectionate term Hao, opting instead for the full name. Members of the Nangong family sighed as they approached, intending to escort Nangong Hao away. Clad in indifference, Nangong Hao donned his clothes but did not leave. Instead, he turned to the individuals who had slandered his parents and asked, "What are your names? Which faction do you belong to? Do you still wish to bully others under the guise of being a young master of the Nangong family? After today, It is uncertain whether you will remain a member of the Nangong family, let alone a young master. The envoy from Baiwuguo attempted to assert dominance, continuously mocking. Nangong Hao regarded the envoy with a serious gaze. I know you are from Baiwuguo. As members of your faction, do you not have the ability to manage your own dogs? Your superior has failed to control this loquacious mutt, and this mutt has also failed to manage the beasts it nurtures. If this were anywhere else, I would not concern myself. But to act recklessly within the Nangong family and insult my parents, who grants you such audacity? Upon hearing this, Nangong Xiong rose, his eyes filled with murderous intent, stating, Nangong Hao is correct. Although he has become a waste and has brought shame upon us, we are still members of the Nangong family and cannot be humiliated by outsiders. Otherwise, they will only perceive the Nangong family as weak and easily bullied. Furthermore, the Nangong family had just suffered a tremendous embarrassment. Nangong Xiong, filled with rage, sought an outlet for his frustration, and these foolish individuals had presented themselves perfectly for that purpose. Upon witnessing Nangong Xiong's malicious demeanor, the envoy from Baiwuguo instantly turned pale. He was no match for Nangong Xiong. The leaders of the second and third-rate forces were equally terrified. Their faces drained of color as they looked expectantly at the envoy from Baiwuguo, hoping for protection. Yet the envoy was preoccupied with his own predicament and could not spare a thought for them. The envoy, wearing a forced smile, explained, Master Nangong, my previous remarks were not truly insulting, for Nangong Hao has indeed not awakened his potential. It is akin to merely taking a bath in the refinement pool, correct? Nangong Xiong found this difficult to refute, clenching his fists in an attempt to suppress his indignation. At that moment, Nangong Hao spoke. Sign in. Nangong Xiong furrowed his brow and turned. Silence. Return to your room. Others also frowned at Nangong Hao, expressing dissatisfaction. While no one would genuinely harm him, he was no longer the favored son of heaven. Could he not be a bit quieter? Each word he uttered served as a reminder of the disgrace the Nangong family had just endured. A maid and some servants approached, intending to carry Nangong Hao away. As the host signed in for the first time, a mechanical voice, devoid of emotion yet melodious, announced, Reward obtained. Heavenly punishment, divine body. A satisfied smile spread across Nangong Hao's face as he opened his arms to embrace his newfound potential. Thunder rumbled in the heavens, and boundless spiritual energy began to converge from above. Winds howled, tearing through the sky. Everyone present was astounded. What was happening? Why had the spiritual energy suddenly increased tenfold? No, 100-fold, or even 1,000-fold. The surrounding forces of law were also intensifying. Look at Nangong Hao. Good heavens, is that a purple gold crown atop his head? A sign of awakening a supreme physique? And behold, countless golden lotuses are emerging from the ground. What a fragrant aroma. Where does this scent originate? Just a whiff. And my realm has broken through. The series of celestial phenomena left everyone in the ceremonial hall dumbfounded, their eyes wide with disbelief. At that moment, a colossal pillar of spiritual energy, 10 zhang in diameter, descended from the heavens, piercing through the roof of the ceremonial hall and the protective formation, crashing directly toward Nangong Hao. Bathed in the column of spiritual energy, Nangong Hao refined his essence, enhancing his foundation. Simultaneously, heavenly fragrances descended, golden lotuses blossoming everywhere, and a purple gold crown graced Nangong Hao's head. Those present were experts capable of seeing through the walls of the hall, and they beheld the thick, golden thunder coalescing in the sky outside. The thunder stretched for 1,000 zhang, resembling frenzied dragons dancing in the void. Boom! 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 The golden thunder erupted in a series of 3 blasts, akin to the celebratory cannon fire of a grand event. Magnificent and awe-inspiring, this was the Golden Thunder Ceremony, the pinnacle of celestial phenomena. Legends say that whenever a unique supreme physique is awakened, such an event occurs to alert the world. In the past several 100,000 years of Donghuang Yu, only a handful of individuals have invoked such phenomena. The renowned Nangong Yi, hailed as the greatest genius in Donghuang Yu for the past several millennia, once triggered 4 thunderous roars, stirring half of the Guangyuan heavenly domain. Now, his son Nangong Hao has similarly summoned this phenomenon. Complex expressions adorned every face present. The Nangong family was bound to rise to prominence. 2 super geniuses, no, 3, not to mention Nangong Hao's mother. 3 super geniuses. Would the other factions in Donghuang Yu still be able to contend? Yet the one most devastated was the envoy from Baiwuguo, who wished he could slap himself for his earlier provocations. How could he be so foolish as to taunt them? And now, He had just mocked Nangong Hao for bathing in a refinement pool, only for him to awaken the supreme physique. What a resounding slap in the face. However, it was fortunate that it was merely 3 thunderous roars. The envoy thought to himself that the genius cultivated in secret by Bai Wuguo had triggered 5 thunderous roars. Boom! 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 Another 3 thunderous roars resounded. Simultaneously, an ethereal array of blossoms descended from above Nangong Hao, while sacred beasts such as dragons, phoenixes, and Qilins circled overhead, showering endless auspiciousness. Those touched by this auspiciousness found their ailments cured, while cultivators either entered profound enlightenment or broke through their realms. The envoy from Bai Wuguo turned pale. This was too ruthless. How could the slaps in the face continue in succession? Just after he claimed his own family's genius had achieved 5 thunderous roars, Nangong Hao had directly surpassed him with 6. So is this how the game is played? If you truly possess the ability, then attempt to summon the 9 thunderclaps of the Golden Roar, which have not been witnessed for 1,000,000 years. Should you succeed, I shall perform an act of self-destruction to entertain you. Chapter 4. The divine body of heavenly retribution requires the sacrifice of the entire world. Boom! 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 Once again, a series of 3 resounding echoes emerged, culminating in the unprecedented 9 thunderclaps of the Golden Roar, unseen for 1,000,000 years. Thud! The envoy from Bai Wuguo knelt upon the ground, his expression one of utter despair. Young Master Nangong, I deserve death for my mockery. I am willing to sacrifice myself, merely pleading that you spare my family from disaster. With that, the envoy took his own life. Those nearby fell silent, acutely aware that the moment for their words had passed. The envoy's death was inevitable. The 9 thunderclaps of the Golden Roar signify the presence of a peerless genius. In this boundless Guangyuan heavenly domain, Nangong Hao stands as a formidable prodigy. As long as he does not fall, he is assuredly a prospective emperor. Even for the exalted position of the Supreme Emperor, he is undoubtedly among the most powerful contenders. Faced with such an entity, congratulations were not in their purview. Only the most elite would dare approach him. The Nangong family stood in stunned silence, particularly Nangong Xiong. What was happening? The refining pool failed to reveal Nangong Hao's constitution. Yet he awakened a transcendent physique beside it. Boom! A torrent of extraordinary and vast energy emanated from the sealed grounds of the Nangong family. A golden casket, fashioned from sacred artifacts, was flung open, and with it, numerous withered figures emerged. Many of the immortal beings of the Nangong family, who had slumbered since ancient times, awakened from their sealed slumber. They sensed the auspicious moment for the Nangong family. Among them was a gaunt elder clad in a brocade robe, exuding an aura capable of annihilating the heavens, who gazed at Nangong Hao with joy, proclaiming, I perceive the destiny of an emperor. The Nangong family shall give rise to an emperor. The formidable elders of the Nangong family, who had been in seclusion, abandoned their cultivation and rushed forth to safeguard the future emperor. Meanwhile, from the other 3 directions of the eastern wilderness, resounding voices echoed. I mean Bubi, the revered emperor of the prosperous Bai Wuguo, presenting 3 immortal divine herbs to congratulate the Nangong family on their genius achieving the ultimate physique. Guiyang, the fire elemental sage of Dongqing City, congratulate the Nangong family with the sacred fire spirit pearl. Xing Yuhan, the sea overlord of the West Sea clan, congratulate the Nangong family with the Ming Haizhou. The leaders of the 3 great powers arrived simultaneously to extend their congratulations, presenting gifts that would incite envy in many first-rate factions. Yet all were aware that the future of Nangong Hao warranted such offerings. These 3 factions were currying favor with a prospective emperor, perhaps even a future sovereign. Nangong Xiong felt a surge of pride, pointing to the corpse of the envoy from Bai Wuguo and commanding, throw him out, along with those who dared to speak ill. Immediately, members of the Nangong family rushed forth to expel those who had mocked Nangong Hao and his parents. However, they refrained from executing these minor nuisances, for they understood it was unnecessary. Indeed, after the Nangong family cast these individuals out, a massive hand from the direction of Bai Wuguo descended with alarming swiftness. In an instant, those who had spoken so recklessly were obliterated by Bai Wuguo. Their factions would face annihilation due to their association with them. Throughout this ordeal, Nangong Hao remained silent, standing beside the refining pool, gazing coolly at the crowd. None dared meet his gaze, instead averting their eyes from the countenance of this mere 3-year-old child. Yet, Nangong Hao was not truly observing them. His mind wandered as he conversed with the system. However, since he had chosen to sign in and received his rewards earlier, the system had fallen inexplicably silent. After considerable contemplation, Nan Gonghao concluded that this system possessed solely a pure sign-in function. It only notified him, the host, at the designated sign-in time or when refreshing the sign-in location. At all other times, it remained as silent as a grave. Perhaps this was for the best. Sign-ins could yield power. Nevertheless, unlike the novels he had previously encountered on Earth, which required the completion of tedious tasks for rewards, he found a surprising turn of events. Suddenly, a seven-colored radiance enveloped him. Initially, he believed this to be another celestial phenomenon. Yet, in the next moment, someone exclaimed, "The seven-color locking chains? Could it be that Nan Gonghao's awakened physique is the legendary divine body of heavenly retribution?" This proclamation sent shockwaves through the assembly. Even Nan Gongxiong was taken aback and rushed over, only to be repelled by a formidable force. For, standing before Nan Gonghao was an immortal clad in a golden robe. The immortal resolutely extended a withered hand, making contact with the red chains encircling Nan Gonghao. Whoosh! Instantly, a fierce wind erupted, reminiscent of a superstorm, tearing through the Grand Hall. Fortunately, the witnesses were all powerful beings. Though they were buffeted and some even sustained injuries and spat blood, they managed to escape to safety. It is indeed the divine body of heavenly retribution. Absolutely the divine body of heavenly retribution. This cursed physique, it is said, would bring ruin to the very land it graces. Yet, I have heard that there once was an emperor who possessed the divine body of heavenly retribution. Do you know that this emperor sacrificed 7 vast worlds like Guang Yuan to barely break the 7 natural shackles that came with the divine body and ultimately achieved his path to sovereignty through bloodshed? Good heavens, such ruthlessness! I do not wish to perish. A multitude of terrified discussions erupted, and the crowd hastily distanced themselves from Nan Gonghao. The members of the Nan Gong family also bore solemn expressions. As a superpower, they naturally understood more than the average person. The divine body of heavenly retribution, reputed to be the most powerful physique of antiquity. It was precisely for this reason that its emergence summoned the 9 thunderclaps of the Golden Roar. Yet simultaneously, it is a harbinger of calamity, bringing unprecedented destruction to all who draw near or to the places it inhabits. Many worlds have indeed met their demise due to the divine body of heavenly retribution. This physique bears 7 shackles, known as the 7-color locking chains. Without breaking these shackles, one cannot cultivate. Yet, the method to unlock these shackles requires the slaughter of a world's living beings. Throughout history, the number of divine bodies of heavenly retribution birthed remains unknown, but only one has ever succeeded in cultivation and ultimately ascended to emperorhood. That individual annihilated countless lives. Thus, upon realizing that Nan Gonghao's awakened supreme physique was indeed the divine body of heavenly retribution, despair gripped the hearts of the Nan Gong family. They had just transitioned from great sorrow to great joy, only to plummet back into despair once more. The tumultuous nature of life is exceedingly exhilarating. Their fragile hearts could scarcely endure the strain. Meanwhile, thunderous roars echoed from the heavens. With the emergence of the divine body of heavenly retribution, if the Nan Gong family does not act, when will they? Do you expect us, the other powers of the Eastern Wilderness, to assist you? Nan Gongxiong, act swiftly to eliminate this child, or else, when the other factions of the Guangyuan heavenly domain become aware, they will surely seek excuses to intervene. Indeed, I have already received word that there are stirrings in Zhongzhou. Do you truly wish to invite boundless disaster upon your Nan Gong family? The previously congratulatory powers of the Eastern Wilderness now shifted their tone, urging Nan Gongxiong to take decisive action against Nan Gonghao. Chapter 5. Address me as grandfather, not brother. Faced with the pressure from numerous factions and the imminent arrival of powerful beings from other regions, Nan Gongxiong found himself in a quandary. Nan Gonghao is the divine body of heavenly retribution. Without the destruction of a world, he cannot cultivate. Yet, he is marked for extermination by all. By all logical reasoning, he should indeed be slain to quell the fury of the masses and preserve the Nan Gong family. However, it just so happens that Nan Gonghao's parents are 2 extraordinary geniuses of the Nan Gong family. Once Nan Gongye and the others return and learn that their son has been annihilated, they will undoubtedly be aware of the terrifying nature of the Tianqian Sheni. Given their temperament, it is likely that they will create a tremendous uproar. Furthermore, the numerous powerful members of the Nan Gong family are under immense pressure. After all, the other 3 great forces of the Eastern Wilderness region also possess their own formidable beings and immortals. Moreover, due to Nangong Xiong's actions causing a significant stir, the live broadcast of Nangong House Refinement has reached the entire Guangyuan heavenly domain. The matter of the Tianqian Sheni is now known to the entire world, and many powerful beings are hastily making their way here. This is no longer something that can be concealed, nor is it a matter that can be compromised. Presently, there are only two choices. 1. Annihilate Nangong Hao. 2. The complete destruction of the Nangong family. Although the Nangong family has immortals, should a war break out, leading to an immortal holy war, it would undoubtedly result in a catastrophic bloodbath. Yet, in the face of an existence like the Tianqian Sheni, it is far preferable to shed blood than to allow the world to be destroyed. Therefore, other forces will not show mercy. Moreover, the Nangong family cannot afford to hesitate. Any delay will provide the other forces an excuse to intervene in the territory of the Eastern Wilderness, seizing their resources. By then, not only will Nangong Hao be doomed, but their resources will also be plundered. It will be a case of losing both the wife and the soldiers. Thus, to minimize losses, the Nangong family must make a decision promptly. Ancestor, I am useless and do not know how to handle this. Nangong Xiong knelt on the ground, addressing the elder in golden robes. The elder in golden robes looked at Nangong Hao with a complex expression. Nangong Hao's own gaze was even more intricate, filled with turmoil. What in the world is happening? Is this a blessing or a curse? Initially, without this physique, I would merely be a waste, scorned by others. Now, possessing an extraordinary physique, I have barely begun to show my potential, and now I face death. Nangong Hao felt like crying, pondering how many elderly care facilities he had blown up in his past life to be subjected to such a tumultuous existence. He could only hope that the Nangong family would show some resolve. Even sending him away would be preferable to outright killing him. However, just as Nangong Hao looked at the elder in golden robes with great anticipation, he suddenly saw the elder grit his teeth and solemnly declare, Han Tianzhong. The Han Tianzhong, an imperial artifact. This was a treasure belonging to a once quasi-imperial ancestor of the Nangong family, originally limited by that ancestor's power. The Han Tianzhong was merely a quasi-imperial artifact. However, the great emperor of that time, having received some favors from the Nangong family's ancestor, assisted in elevating the Han Tianzhong to the level of an imperial artifact. Imperial artifacts possess various marvels and can suppress an entire world. The Nangong family has thrived for countless years relying on the existence of imperial artifacts. At this moment, the elder in golden robes was about to employ an imperial artifact, causing everyone to be taken aback. Annihilating Nangong Hao does not require the use of an imperial artifact. So, is the Nangong family truly prepared to resist to the bitter end? The Nangong family, are you courting your own demise? The top powers from Shiman region, Bai-Yi region, Nandi region, and even those from the central continent are already on their way. When the army descends upon your gates, obliterating the Nangong family will be a mere trifle. Do not resist, for the sake of the Eastern Wilderness, and for the Nangong family, the mere Tianqian Sheni, which cannot cultivate. What does it matter if it is destroyed? A crowd of individuals, filled with fury, vehemently criticized, attempting to awaken the members of the Nangong family. Just as they spoke, the sky had already begun to emit several terrifying auras. These auras, emanating from the immortals, originated from various corners of the Guangyuan heavenly domain, from different forces. Yet, they all shared one commonality. Their overwhelming strength instilled despair in all members of the Nangong family. Simultaneously, they carried boundless murderous intent, suppressing everyone in the Nangong family. The immortals had not yet unleashed their power. Merely their oppressive presence rendered the Nangong family incapable of raising their heads, let alone harboring any thoughts of resistance. However, the Han Tianzhong hovered in the void, preventing those immortals from daring to act recklessly or descend. For the time being, both sides had reached a stalemate. However, it would not be long before a large number of powerful beings arrived, and it was even possible that some would come bearing imperial artifacts. No one could predict how the situation would unfold then. Nangong Hao was uncertain of the strength within the Guangyuan heavenly domain, but witnessing the Han Tianzhong's ability to hold back those formidable beings allowed him to breathe a sigh of relief. Thankfully, he was born into a family that values emotions. Rest assured, Ancestor, once I unlock the Tianqian Sheni, I will surely protect the Nangong family. Wait, why is the bell hovering above my head? Let us speak properly. Ancestor, there's no need to resort to such drastic measures. Just as Nangong Hao was about to vow to protect the Nangong family, he saw the Han Tianzhong flying above him, accompanied by a thunderous chime. Once again, a terrifying storm swept through the Nangong family. However, this time it was not a gale, but a spatial tempest. Nangong Hao watched helplessly as the space around him was violently crushed into nothingness, coalescing into a massive black hole. Within the black hole, a terrifying gravitational force emerged, directly pulling Nangong Hao in. No one doubted that this spatial storm, capable of obliterating everything, was beyond Nangong Hao's capacity to resist. Witnessing this scene, Nangong Xiong closed his eyes in anguish. The numerous powerful members of the Nangong family displayed expressions of profound sorrow. The future quasi-emperor, perhaps even a great emperor, the hope for the rise of the Nangong family, had vanished just like that. The elder in golden robes maintained a cold demeanor, surveying the void. The spatial storm torn apart by the Han Tianzhong is sufficient to annihilate Nangong Hao's spirit and form, leaving no chance for reincarnation or possession. Are you all satisfied now? Waves of energy resonated in the air, indicating that the immortals were communicating. Moments later, dozens of overwhelmingly powerful thoughts swept through the space that the Han Tianzhong had just torn apart. Only after an incense stick's worth of time did those supreme beings depart, satisfied. Along with them left the observing forces and other powerful beings lurking in the shadows. A calamity that should have spread throughout the entire eastern wilderness, and even the Guangyuan heavenly domain seemed to dissipate into nothingness. Yet, everyone knew that this matter was far from over. Whether it be the Nangong family's unyielding spirit or the other forces lingering unease, it served as a hidden fuse. Should any small mishap occur, igniting this fuse, it would lead to an explosion that could engulf the entire world. Once everyone had departed, the powerful members of the Nangong family either returned to seclusion or left to attend to other matters. The immortals returned to their sealed domains, lying back in their coffins to continue their confinement. Nangong Xiong sat in his room, staring blankly into the void. In the end, that place was indeed utilized. Meanwhile, in the void beyond the realm, there existed a small, yet spiritually rich world filled with numerous heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Nangong Hao sat on the grass, gazing at the young boy before him, who was only a few years older than he, with a look of bewilderment. "Big brother, where is this? What should I call you?" "No need for formalities, just call me Grandpa," the young boy replied with a smile. Chapter 6. Breaking Free from the Tianqian Shackles. Cultivation speed reaches new heights. Nangong Hao looked at the child before him and finally understood why people despise unruly children. Although he appeared to be a few years older, to ask him to call him Grandpa, did he truly believe he was but a toddler? "I'm already 3 years old, you know." With a displeased expression, Nangong Hao chose to ignore the child and surveyed his surroundings. This seemed to be a very primitive world. The flowers, grasses, and trees towered intimidatingly, as if they had not been pruned in hundreds of years. Occasionally, fierce birds would soar across the sky, and one could even spot pterosaurs from time to time. Suddenly, Nangong Hao felt the ground tremble, startling him into thinking there was an earthquake. However, in the next moment, a massive, ferocious beast came charging from the distance. This beast resembled an elephant, possessing a long trunk, yet its size exceeded that of an elephant by 10-fold or more. It was adorned with thick scales, crowned by a singular horn that flickered with the essence of thunder, presenting an aura of formidable lethality. As the ferocious beast approached, Nangong Hao caught sight of its eyes, which astonishingly reflected a human-like curiosity and uncertainty. This creature possessed intelligence, and not a trivial amount at that. Could it be a sacred beast? Nangong Hao was astonished by this supposition when he suddenly heard a voice belonging to a young boy. "Hao, I am indeed your grandfather, or more accurately, your great-grandfather. It's one thing to ignore you earlier, but why are you so eager now?" Nangong Hao's expression darkened as he scolded the boy. "I understand that cultivation can preserve one's appearance and physique. Many ancient beings retain the guise of youth, but to the extent of resembling a child seems implausible." The boy smiled gently. "Do not be hasty. I practice the art of life and death rebirth, which necessitates a reincarnation every 100,000 years. Only after 9 cycles can one attain perfection, ultimately achieving the status of a great emperor. I have undergone 7 reincarnations. This is my 8th, having just been reborn, hence my youthful appearance and diminished strength. However, in terms of lineage, I surpass those immortal guardians stationed in our family." Nangong Hao regarded the boy with skepticism. Is such a technique truly possible? The boy, noticing Nangong Hao's doubt, continued, "Before each rebirth, I seal the power of that lifetime within a ferocious beast. Come fort." At his command, the long-nosed beast beside him let out a thunderous roar. Soon after, Several distant roars echoed in response. The winged dragon that had passed earlier returned, its cry capable of rending the heavens. A phoenix soared from the south, its body ablaze like the scorching sun. A azure dragon burst forth from the waters into the sky, conjuring clouds and rain. A colossal tortoise lazily floated by on a cloud, obscuring the sun. 7 ferocious beasts, radiating terrifying power, emerged around Nangong Hao, all fixating their predatory gazes upon him. A chill ran down his spine. He sensed that these creatures were immensely powerful. Each one could easily overwhelm his exceptionally gifted parents. It is essential to note that his parents, Nangong Hao, were of the saintly realm, undoubtedly among the pinnacle of combatants in the eastern wilderness. Nangong Hao had always believed them to be invincible, a sentiment echoed by those around him. Yet now, it appeared that they were outmatched by these beasts. If these 7 beasts united, they might very well approach the threshold of an emperor's realm. Observing Nangong Hao's shocked demeanor, the boy revealed a satisfied smile. Now, do you believe? Yes, I believe. Nangong Hao readily accepted the truth. For even if the boy were to fabricate his identity, his ability to command these beasts was enough to prove his extraordinary nature. Moreover, the Nangong family would not have taken such a significant risk to send him to this world merely to deceive him with a child. Well, since you now believe, I shall commence your training from this day forth. Do you have any objections? The boy casually added, Oh, and you may call me Sanye from now on. Nangong Hao raised an eyebrow. Sanye? By that title, do you have other brothers? My elder brother, Nangong Wudi, is the ancestor who once vied for the position of emperor. He founded the Nangong clan. My second sister, Nangong Tianxue, possesses strength superior to mine and is currently in the outer realms acquiring resources for the Nangong family, returning only once every few millennia. I, Nangong Wushuang, am tasked with guarding the Nangong clan. In fact, even if those so-called immortals were to act against you, I could ensure your safety. The boy spoke with an air of pride. Nangong Hao sighed. I fear that it is precisely because they are aware of your existence that they take such care. If I were born to an ordinary family, they would not have gone to such lengths for me. 4 ordinary folk lack the qualifications to help me unravel the shackles of the Tianqin Sheni. Nangong Wushuang's eyes brightened with admiration for Nangong Hao. You are indeed clever, gifted and astute. Quite impressive. Nangong Hao immediately bowed respectfully. I humbly request that Sanye teach me the techniques. Nangong Wushuang's expression turned serious. The Tianqin Sheni is among the pinnacle of supreme physiques. As long as you can unlock the 7-colored locking chains, you shall undoubtedly ascend to the status of a great emperor. I have already informed my second sister to eliminate several imprisoned evildoers in the outer realms and send you the required energy to assist in unlocking those bonds. However, even so, to completely unravel the shackles will demand tremendous effort on your part. I estimate that it may take around 200,000 years to fully unlock the 7-colored locking chains. Nangong Hao gasped in disbelief. 200,000 years. By the heavens, system, you have deceived me. Did you not claim I would possess a supreme physique? Why impose such monumental restrictions? Beep. The sign-in location has been refreshed. Please sign in at Wushuangjia. The system prompted. The sign-in has reset again? Nangong Hao pondered, secretly speculating what this new opportunity might entail. Surely it could not be assistance in unlocking the shackles? That would indeed be a tremendous boon. An expression of eager anticipation crossed his face. However, Nangong Wushuang, observing Nangong Hao's bowed head and faint smile, mistakenly assumed he was disheartened. Alarmed, he thought, oh no, I may have been too blunt. I might have undermined this young man's confidence. Cursing his own foolishness, Nangong Wushuang forced a smile and reassured, Hauer, do not fear. Although it is indeed challenging to unlock the shackles of the Tianqin Sheni, even unlocking just one chain will render you significantly more powerful. Additionally, that great emperor who once bore the Tianqin Sheni only took 1,000 years to unlock the first chain through sheer determination. With your immense talent and the support of the Nangong family, it should take no more than 700 or 800 years at most. Once you unlock the first chain, I shall allow you to venture out for a while. How about this? Your coming-of-age ceremony is in 10 years, and I will ensure you have countless beauties to enjoy. Nangong Wushuang grinned like a dubious uncle attempting to entice a child. Sign in, Nangong Hao stated flatly. What did you say, Hao? Nangong Wushuang inquired curiously. Suddenly, the 7-colored locking chains manifested outside Nangong Hao's body, transforming into 7 radiant halos that enveloped him like a magnificent rainbow. Yet in truth, this was the most terrifying manifestation of an attack. Previously, An immortal had merely prodded it, and it had severely injured numerous experts. Even a peak powerhouse like Nangong Wushuang dared not approach carelessly. He swiftly retreated, though his gaze remained fixed on Nangong Hao, perplexed as to why the seven-colored locking chains had been activated. At that moment, the red chain at the pinnacle of the seven-colored locking chains emitted a sharp cracking sound. In an instant, that chain shattered completely. By the heavens! Nangong Wushuang exclaimed, his eyes nearly bulging from their sockets. At that moment, as the red chain of the Tianqian Shini shattered, the sky began to teem with gathering thunder. The Tianqian Shini, as its name implies, is destined to exist perpetually under divine retribution. Each time a locking chain is released, it invites a thunderous calamity. As the red chain on Nangong Hao's body broke, the heavenly Tao took notice, summoning an endless torrent of thunder to strike him. Suddenly, a gust of wind arose, born of spiritual energy. An inexhaustible stream of spiritual essence swirled like a tornado, forming a massive funnel that poured into Nangong Hao's body, cleansing his flesh. Various Taoist rhythms transformed into phenomena surrounding him, enhancing his defenses. This was the privilege afforded by a supreme physique. The divine retribution of the Tianqian Shini clashed with the advantages of the supreme physique, two opposing powers colliding in a contest of ferocity. Then, out of nowhere, a bolt of lightning descended. This lightning was at least 5 zhong wide and stretched for dozens of zhong, morphing in midair into a golden thunder serpent that crackled as it hurtled toward Nangong Hao. The colossal beast beside him hesitated. Master, has he unlocked the Tianlian? Should I assist? Nangong Wushuang appeared perplexed, instinctively responding, no need, he can endure this. However, I am curious about how he managed to unlock the Crimson Tianlian. Did any of you witness it? The surrounding 7 beasts shook their heads in unison. Seeing this, Nangong Wushuang could only smile wryly. What a slap in the face. Just moments ago, I asserted that with the full support of the Nangong family, it would take him 700 to 800 years to break the first seal. Yet here he is, delivering an astonishing surprise. Truly a prodigy, surpassing even his parents. I feel his talent ranks among the elite in the history of the Guangyuan Tianyu. It is indeed enviable. My Tao heart is somewhat unstable. A tinge of jealousy crept into Nangong Wushuang's demeanor. However, he soon began to beam with pride. After all, this was a descendant of the Nangong family. The stronger and more extraordinary he became, the better it would be for the Nangong lineage. Under his leadership, the family could rise to become an imperial clan. Boom! Thunder struck fiercely upon Nangong Hao, the intense lightning flashing so brilliantly that it nearly blinded the onlookers. Within a radius of 100 zhong, the world was engulfed in a golden hue, rendering everything indistinguishable. Given his relatively weaker realm, Nangong Wushuang had no choice but to close his eyes. Yet, the powerful winged dragon in midair served as his eyes, witnessing everything. There stood Nangong Hao, proudly enduring the onslaught of thunder, chest out and head held high. The dense electric light not only failed to harm him, but fortified his physical form. His body, having been purified multiple times, expelled even more impurities. His flesh grew denser and sturdier, the vitality within surging to the brink of overflowing. The colossal beast chuckled. Why does it feel like Haoer's flesh is transforming towards my direction? Nangong Wushuang also laughed. This was precisely the outcome he desired. The beast's defenses were unparalleled, capable of withstanding the full force of a sage's attack. If Nangong Hao could reach such a level, even if his cultivation speed were slow, his safety would no longer be a concern. The Thunder Tribulation had a total of 9 strikes, each more intense and ferocious than the last. However, when they concluded, Nangong Hao remained unscathed. Instead, he utilized the thunder to temper his body, rendering his skin as tough as bronze and iron. He was impervious to ice and fire, unafraid of blades and swords. Furthermore, upon unlocking the first chain, he comprehended a technique known as the GLA Lian Shunju. This technique seemed like a divine gift. After the Thunder Tribulation, it appeared automatically in his mind. When engaged in battle using this technique, heavenly punishment thunder would entwine around him, inflicting immense damage upon his foes. After all, not everyone could be as abnormal as Nangong Hao, facing divine retribution as if it were a leisurely bath. The destructive power of the heavenly punishment thunder against cultivators and certain extraordinary beings was extraordinarily formidable. Moreover, long-term practice of the GLA Lian Shunju could also refine the practitioner's body, enhancing their physical strength. The Tianqian body possesses 7 chains. corresponding to 7 layers of advancement. The first layer primarily focuses on tempering the body to its utmost potential. Once Nangong Hao organized the technique in his mind and stretched his limbs, he turned to Nangong Wushuang and said, "Third uncle, I unintentionally interrupted your speech when I broke through. I apologize." Nangong Wushuang waved his hand dismissively. "No harm done. You likely have a solid understanding of the Tian Qian divine body. Let me explain the cultivation realms to you. They are Ning Ti, Kaifu, Qi Yuang Ho, Huangzhe, and Shengren. Let us discuss these for now. Elaborating on the later realms would be unnecessary." Nangong Hao nodded, aware of the wisdom in not overextending oneself. These matters could be explored further down the line. Seeing Nangong Hao's composed demeanor, Nangong Wushuang felt even more pleased. He had talent without impatience, confidence without arrogance. A fine seedling indeed. Let us begin with the Ning Ti realm. This is your current stage. It involves consolidating one's constitution, absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to refine oneself, and ultimately condensing the spiritual veins within. The spiritual veins can autonomously absorb the surrounding spiritual energy to enhance your body and replenish your spiritual power during battle, ensuring you are perpetually filled with vigor. The Ning Ti realm consists of 9 levels, with each 3 levels condensing a complete spiritual vein. Thus, an average cultivator in the Ning Ti realm possesses 3 complete spiritual veins. Nangong Wushuang spoke eloquently. Yet, Nangong Hao frowned and inquired keenly. "You mentioned an average Ning Ti realm. Does that imply there are extraordinary Ning Ti realms?" Nangong Wushuang's face bore an appreciative smile indeed. The typical Ning Ti realm comprises 9 levels, but some prodigies can cultivate to 12 levels. Upon reaching that realm, one can condense a 4th spiritual vein, allowing the 4 veins to merge into an internal source stream, significantly increasing both the speed and quality of spiritual energy absorption compared to ordinary Ning Ti practitioners. However, reaching the 12th level is exceedingly challenging. Throughout countless years in the Guangyuan Tianyu, very few have achieved that realm. Not even some emperors. Even I, your third uncle, only reached the 10th level in my previous lives. In this life, however, I am on the verge of breaking through to the 11th level. A subtle pride illuminated Nangong Wushuang's expression. Nangong Hao then realized that this third uncle had only recently attained the Ning Ti realm in this lifetime. Nonetheless, it made sense. He appeared to be merely 6 or 7 years old. Achieving the 11th level of the Ning Ti realm at such an age was already remarkable. Nangong Hao sighed with admiration and earnestly declared, "Third uncle, I aspire to catch up to you by the age of 5. Ha ha ha, excellent. I believe in you." Nangong Wushuang laughed heartily. "You have unlocked the first Tian Lian. The Tian Qian divine body should have automatically guided you to comprehend the technique. That is the most suitable technique for you. You may begin practicing it, and I will provide you with other top-tier techniques of the Nangong family later. If all goes well, in another 10 years, you should be able to venture out." Nangong Hao nodded, and then moved aside to focus on his cultivation. His diminutive form, standing amidst the tall grass, became almost invisible. Yet, in the next moment, terrifying thunder converged, transforming into serpentine bolts of lightning encircling Nangong Hao. As he moved and struck, the thunder crackled, continuously refining his body and rapidly augmenting his strength. However, the surrounding flora and trees suffered greatly. Upon the slightest touch of thunder, they erupted into flames, ultimately dissolving into nothingness, leaving only scorched earth behind. Observing this training method, Nangong Wushuang couldn't help but exclaim, "The Tian Qian divine body is indeed domineering. Giant elephant, please watch over Hao for a while, with his talent. He should reach the first level of the Ning Ti realm within a month." It was truly enviable. As Nangong Wushuang sighed, preparing to depart, he suddenly sensed the surrounding spiritual energy rapidly converging, forming a river in midair. A river of spiritual energy? Could be. Nangong Wushuang turned abruptly. Upon witnessing Nangong Hao absorbing that river of spiritual energy, his face fell in disbelief. It had barely been a moment, and Nangong Hao had already achieved the first level of the Ning Ti realm. He admitted he felt a pang of jealousy. Not only him, but the 7 formidable beasts around them had also transformed into envious figures. Chapter 8. He cannot possibly advance this quickly. Nangong Hao had indeed reached the first level of the Ning Ti realm. The river of spiritual energy in midair continuously surged into his body, swirling around his kidneys. The kidneys are the source of human strength. Naturally, The first spiritual vein would originate from there. The spiritual energy river coiled around Nan Gonghao's kidneys, compressing, condensing, refining, and merging. What was once a gaseous river now dripped with pure liquid essence. This most refined spiritual liquid fell upon Nan Gonghao's kidneys, fortifying his body. Simultaneously, the vitality within Nan Gonghao surged, continuously condensing and merging into a river. After half an hour of refinement, a complete spiritual vein had formed within Nan Gonghao's kidneys. This signifies that he has ascended to the third layer of the Ningti realm. At this moment, the vitality within his body surged forth like a raging river. With a mere thought, Nan Gonghao could harness the power of his vitality to enhance a specific part of his body or unleash an all-out burst, no longer scattered as before. This solidified vitality rendered Nan Gonghao's skin more resilient, endowing him with a strength of at least 100,000 jin. In the Ningdi realm, each layer elevates one's power by 100,000 jin. Alas, achieving the third layer in a single day, if such talent does not culminate in becoming a great emperor, it would be utterly absurd. Nangong Wushuang sighed with a bitter smile. However, his sorrow was not for himself, but rather for the prodigies of this era. Those unfortunate children were likely unaware that the Nangong family had birthed such an anomaly and remained confidently determined to enter the imperial competition. Unfortunately, their failure was inevitable. Just as Nangong Wushuang prepared to praise Nan Gonghao, he noticed that his eyes remained closed. Moreover, the surrounding river of spiritual energy had not dissipated. Could it be that Nan Gonghao was still breaking through? Nangong Wushuang widened his eyes in disbelief, exclaiming, "Impossible! In my 8 lifetimes, I have never encountered such a formidable genius." Beside him, 7 fierce beasts stared in astonishment at Nan Gonghao. Indeed, Nan Gonghao was still in the midst of his breakthrough. The second river of spiritual energy surged into his lungs, quickly compressing into a complete spiritual vein. Within him, the vitality roared like an angry river, and with every gesture, he wielded a strength of 200,000 jin. Subsequently, he summoned the spiritual energy river into his spleen and liver. In less than 8 hours, Nan Gonghao had condensed 4 spiritual veins. He had reached the pinnacle of the Ningti realm, attaining the 12th layer, a day of 12 layers. Nangong Wushuang was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Damn it, I have toiled for 8 lifetimes, each spanning several 100,000 years, and have never achieved the 12th layer in the Ningdi realm. Yet you accomplished it in a single day? Must you toy with my psyche in such a manner? Nangong Wushuang's face was filled with sorrow. As the 4 spiritual veins converged, the source flow within Nan Gonghao began to coalesce. At that moment, an endless storm raged in the sky, a spiritual energy storm. Once these storms infused into Nan Gonghao's body, he would condense an extraordinarily powerful source flow, rendering him several times stronger than an ordinary practitioner in the Ningdi realm. Although this spiritual energy storm operated within a small world, the members of the Nangong family outside could still perceive it through the imperial artifact, the Hantian Bell. After all, Nan Gonghao was the family's treasure, and it was impossible to remain indifferent. The current family head, Nangong Xiong, was discussing matters with several clan elders when he suddenly sensed an anomaly with the Hantian Bell. Upon inspection, his expression changed dramatically. What a formidable spiritual energy storm. Could it be that Nan Gonghao has reached the pinnacle of the Ningdi realm? Impossible. It has been less than 2 days since entering the small world. An elder nearby gasped in surprise. Yet, some raised doubts. It must be the assistance of the Wushuang ancestor, right? Certainly, the Wushuang ancestor has trained for 8 lifetimes. Nurturing someone to the pinnacle of the Ningdi realm is not an easy task. The ancestor must have made significant sacrifices. Alas, why must it be so? For a future that remains uncertain, one should not sacrifice a superpower. Indeed, family head, you should persuade the ancestor. A group of individuals murmured discontentedly. Nangong Xiong also doubted that Nan Gonghao could achieve such a breakthrough on his own. Setting aside the fact that no one could cultivate at such a speed, the 7 colored chains of the heavenly punishment divine body had yet to be unraveled. How could he possibly cultivate? If Nangong Wushuang had heard their words, he would have wished to slap them into silence. How dare they look down upon the genius of our family? Yet, it was somewhat understandable. Even Nangong Wushuang, witnessing the scene, felt disbelief. However, after astonishing everyone, Nan Gonghao showed no signs of joy, but rather a look of confusion. Something seems amiss. Nangong Wushuang was taken aback. Could it be that the rapid cultivation speed had led to a problem? This precious child must not encounter any issues, or else Nangong Wushuang would regret it immensely. Hao, what troubles you? Speak to your grandfather. I would willingly sacrifice a few lifetimes of cultivation to help you restore your body. Nangong Hao replied with uncertainty. Grandfather, do not worry. I have not encountered any problems. It's just that I feel this spiritual vein is not yet complete. Huh? But you have 4 spiritual veins, and your vitality is as boundless as the ocean, nearing 2 million gene of immense strength. Once the source flow successfully condenses, your power will only increase, and you'll be able to break through to the next realm. What is amiss? Nangong Wushuang queried, puzzled. Nangong Hao counted on his youthful fingers, explaining. You see, in the Ningdi realm at the 12th layer, the 4 spiritual veins correspond to the kidneys, spleen, lungs, and liver. To complete the 5 organs, we are just missing the heart. Why does the Ningdi realm not include the condensation of the heart's spiritual vein? Nangong Wushuang suddenly understood. I thought something was wrong. This is entirely normal. The heart is the foundation of the human body and is quite fragile. It is typically nourished and cultivated through vitality. With your formidable vitality, although the heart's enhancement may be slightly slower, it will eventually catch up. Nangong Hao contemplated, still feeling it was unreliable. He paused the condensation of the source flow within and pondered how to draw forth the heart's spiritual vein. Observing this, Nangong Wushuang smiled and chose not to interfere. Nearby, the giant elephant beast expressed confusion. Master, Hao is clearly being stubborn. If this continues, his cultivation realm will be delayed. Why not help him understand? Nangong Wushuang shook his head. Geniuses often exhibit stubbornness and defiance against all. I too once sought to challenge my elder brother, which is why I endeavored to cultivate this life and death technique. Hao has aspirations and ambition. This is commendable. However, I wish to use this seemingly impossible task to make him realize that even a genius has limitations. Moreover, his cultivation speed is exceedingly rapid. It will be beneficial for him to take this opportunity to solidify his foundation. The giant elephant beast understood, just as it was about to speak. It sensed something and looked up, its expression filled with shock. In the sky, a graceful figure descended. Third brother, your sister has arrived. Have you missed me? Upon hearing this voice, Nangong Wushuang trembled, fear evident on his face as he instinctively stepped back. I have missed you. You claim to have missed me. Yet you do not even call me sister. After so many years apart, you are still so insufferable. The figure materialized, revealing an enchanting beauty clad in a tight-fitting red battle armor that accentuated her already alluring figure. Particularly, her long, fair legs as she strode forward stirred the blood of onlookers. Yet, Nangong Wushuang dared not gaze upon her, for he knew that his sister was truly capable of delivering a beating, one that would be merciless. Just as Nangong Wushuang awaited the impending punishment with a face full of indignation, he heard the footsteps halt. Oh, is this the heavenly punishment divine body? You have already reached the pinnacle of the Ningdi realm? Third brother, you truly deserve a beating. You have managed to break through one of the seals of the heavenly punishment divine body and elevate yourself to the pinnacle of the Ningdi realm. This must have cost you 2 or 3 lifetimes of cultivation. For such an uncertain future of a wasteful physique, is it worth it? Moreover, did I not say I would bring enough energy for him to break the seal? Nangong Tianque's beautiful face was filled with anger as she raised her foot and kicked Nangong Wushuang. I did mention that I would assist you in conquering several worlds. Yet you appear to be exceedingly impatient. Nangong Wushuang expressed her discontent, stating, it was not my doing. It was he who broke through. Do you think me foolish? Nangong Tianque scoffed at her. That little brat is merely 3 years old. What could he possibly achieve? He likely hasn't even comprehended the full extent of his cultivation realm. By the way, he has indeed broken through to the 12th level of the Ningdi realm. Without your assistance, how would he have known that such a 12th level existed? Nangong Wushuang was rendered speechless. Indeed, no one would believe that a mere 3-year-old child could reach such heights. Just then, an extraordinary phenomenon unfolded in the sky. A breathtaking starry expanse emerged, with an ancient sun hanging high above, accompanied by a cold, luminous moon. Furthermore, 108 primordial stars radiated their brilliance, showering endless starry energy into Nangong Hao's body. Subsequently, other stars began to illuminate, gradually filling the entire small world, transforming it into a celestial realm. The dense power of the stars permeated the atmosphere, not only flooding into Nangong Hao's form, but also benefiting other beings present. Even Nangong Wushuang, who had struggled for a long time with her own cultivation, experienced a breakthrough. The starry energy tempered her body, elevating her to the 12th level of the Ningti realm. This was a level she had aspired to achieve for 7 lifetimes, yet could never attain. Nearby, Nangong Tianxue was also infused with the starry energy. Having fought for years, she harbored some deep-rooted injuries. Now, those hidden wounds were fully restored. Amidst the astonished gazes of numerous beings, the myriad stars quickly coalesced into a peculiar star map that appeared beside Nangong Hao. This star map resembled a guide, pointing towards the path of eternal life for the Emperor. It was the celestial star map, an extraordinary phenomenon. Moreover, it was not triggered by physical attributes, but rather by cultivation realms. My heavens, this child has not condensed the source flow. He is forming a more powerful CI. Spiritual energy converges into an immeasurable ocean, and the CI takes shape, absorbing boundless spiritual essence. His current strength has reached the unprecedented 13th level of the Ningti realm, surpassing ordinary Ningti practitioners by a factor of 10. Nangong Tianxue gasped in shock. As a top-tier expert who had battled in the outer realms for years, she had cultivated an indomitable will, remaining unperturbed even in the face of death. Yet at this moment, she found herself utterly unable to contain her astonishment. This was truly astounding. Although Nangong Wushuang was also taken aback, he had somewhat acclimated after the earlier events, especially upon witnessing his sister's dumbfounded expression. He couldn't help but gloat. "Sister, you just claimed that I assisted Howard in enhancing his power. Do you still think that now?" Nangong Tianxue shook her head with difficulty. If Nangong Hao were at the 12th level of the Ningti realm, it could still be attributed to Nangong Wushuang's help. But the 13th level? Unprecedented. In the annals of the Guanyuan heavenly domain, no one had ever reached this realm. It had long been considered non-existent. Thus, no one could have assisted Nangong Hao. Rather, he could aid others. For instance, he had just utilized the celestial star map phenomenon to help Nangong Wushuang attain the realm she had long dreamed of. He had also aided Nangong Tianxue in healing her foundational injuries, granting her the opportunity to ascend to even greater heights. This child is truly a prodigy. Meanwhile, Nangong Xiong, who was observing the tremor clock, was equally astounded. The starry energy was subtly emanating, nourishing his physique as well. Nangong Xiong hastily examined the small world, only to be shocked to discover Nangong Hao adorned with the celestial star map, as if a deity had descended. Such a terrifying phenomenon could even enhance my strength. This is beyond what the ancestor Wushuang could accomplish. Could it be that I misjudged earlier, and Howard broke through on his own? Who is that beside? Oh, it's the return of the ancestor Tianxue. That makes sense. The two ancestors working together could indeed invoke such a phenomenon for Howard. Nangong Xiong attributed all the credit to this sibling pair. He sighed deeply. The two ancestors have gone to such lengths for Nangong Hao. It is truly commendable. Nangong Hao, how is it that you possess such virtues to elicit such dedication from the two ancestors? Unbeknownst to him, he was underestimated. He had already condensed the 5th spiritual vein at the heart. Now, with all 5 organ spiritual veins complete, they transformed into a sea of spiritual power, with the sea continuously surging forth. At this moment, his every movement exuded an astonishing strength of 10 million pounds. Moreover, his Ningti realm tempered his body. Nangong Hao's skin, flesh, tendons, bones, and blood vessels had all undergone tremendous enhancement. At this moment, he appeared with hair as delicate as silk and skin radiant and smooth, yet unyielding. His tendons and bones resembled diamonds, producing a ringing sound with every motion. Particularly, his blood had transformed into a golden hue, reminiscent of the blood of divine beasts, brimming with incredible energy. Nangong Hao resembled a humanoid monstrosity, even striking the ground with a casual fist. He created a massive crater several meters wide without exerting any effort. Invincible at the Ningti realm, Nangong Hao assessed his strength before glancing at the two individuals before him, whose expressions were complex. He did not recognize Nangong Tianxue and could not help but inquire, "Who is this?" Nangong Wushuang, realizing the moment, was about to introduce her. However, Nangong Tianxue approached with a smile, her beautiful eyes sparkling as she gazed at Nangong Hao. "I couldn't see clearly before due to the brilliance. Howard, you're absolutely adorable." Indeed, Nangong Hao was already exceptionally charming. Now, having reached the pinnacle of the Ningti realm, his appearance and demeanor had become even more refined, captivating the attention of women. Even Nangong Tianxue, a woman with a fierce disposition, could not resist embracing him affectionately. Nan Gonghao felt somewhat awkward. After all, he possessed the soul of an adult, and being held by a woman felt rather peculiar. Nangong Wushuang's eyes widened in astonishment. What is happening? Throughout his life, he had never seen his sister display such affection towards anyone. Goodness, being handsome truly has its advantages. The love-deprived Nangong Wushuang gazed at Nan Gonghao with envy, wanting to exclaim, "Sister, I am also adorable and still young. Why not embrace me too?" But he dare not voice it. This was because Nangong Tianxue would occasionally glance back at him and then at Nan Gonghao, casting disparaging looks in his direction. It was evident that Nangong Tianxue found Nangong Wushuang's appearance lacking. Ultimately, it was Nan Gonghao who, feeling rather helpless, struggled to free himself from her embrace and said, "So you are the ancestor Tianxue. I appreciate your efforts in returning for me." "What do you mean by ancestor? Just call me sister. By the way, have you weaned yet?" Nangong Tianxue inquired, glancing hesitantly at her chest. Nangong Hao, Nangong Wushuang, Chapter 10, Heavenly Punishment Divine Body? His father had once been incapacitated. Originally, Nangong Tianxue intended to provide sufficient energy to break the first lock of the heavenly chain and then depart. However, she found it difficult to leave, choosing instead to accompany her adorable and handsome younger brother, spending a full 7 years together. For Nangong Tianxue, an entity with an almost infinite lifespan, 7 years was but a fleeting moment. It was ample time for Nangong Hao to grow. Now, at the age of 10, he had developed splendidly. Not only was he tall, but his features had also matured considerably. To those unfamiliar with him, at first glance, he might easily be mistaken for a teenager. Moreover, his appearance had become even more handsome and refined. Over the years, Nangong Tianxue had spent her days admiring Nangong Hao's face, often displaying a doting smile reminiscent of an affectionate aunt. Even when he occasionally made mistakes, she would gently soothe him and patiently guide him. As for Nangong Wushuang, he was far less fortunate. For his younger brother, Nangong Tianxue still adhered to the philosophy of to discipline is to love, even resorting to kicking when necessary. In fact, the beatings that should have been directed at Nangong Hao over the years had been transferred to Nangong Wushuang. Thus, Nangong Wushuang felt quite despondent. Over the span of 7 years, Nangong Hao has yet to elevate his realm. This stagnation is primarily due to the overwhelming confinement imposed by the Tian Qian divine body. The energy brought by Nangong Tianxue is simply insufficient to break the second chain of the locking heaven chains. Throughout these years, the signing-in system has remained eerily silent. However, Nangong Hao has not idly wasted his time. He has been diligently tempering his physical form. While his realm remains at the 13th level, he has meticulously refined every corner of his body, elevating his strength to an astonishing 100 million pounds. This figure represents the absolute limit of the condensed body realm. Beyond this lies the power of a dragon's might, a strength reserved for those at the 3rd tier of the Kai-Fu realm. On this day, Nangong Wushuang, with a serious demeanor, approached Nangong Hao. "Hao, I have come to realize that your lack of progression may be attributed to your confinement within this realm. As the saying goes, a true dragon should soar through the skies. Your continual concealment can only lead to a waning spirit." Upon hearing these words, Nangong Hao's face brightened with joy. "Am I able to leave?" "Yes, but your activities are confined to the Nangong family grounds for now. Once you come of age, my sister and I will join forces to boldly announce your existence to the world." Nangong Wushuang affirmed earnestly. Beside them, Nangong Tianxue spoke gently and affectionately. "Indeed, Hao, just endure a little longer. Merely 4 years remain. At that point, you shall present yourself to the world in a breathtaking manner." Nangong Wushuang quietly cautioned, "Sister, do not mention time constraints to him. This prodigy seems capable of surpassing expectations at every turn." "What nonsense!" Nangong Tianxue shot a fierce glare at her brother. "Is my Hao supposed to age into 14 years overnight? Furthermore, he has yet to unlock the second chain. At this rate, it will take several more years." Ding! The signing-in location has refreshed Nangong Family's martial arts arena. The system's voice echoed once more. Nangong Hao smiled wryly, realizing the system was reluctant to allow him to linger in this realm, hence the prolonged silence. However, signing in outside might not provoke a significant disturbance, he thought, recalling the repercussions of his previous 2 sign-ins, which made him somewhat anxious. Noticing Nangong Hao's expression, Nangong Wushuang felt apprehensive. "Hao, you wouldn't actually be attempting to break through, would you?" "Nonsense. I have detected no signs of movement. How could Howard possibly break through? Do not pressure him. Nangong Tian Shui retorted angrily, giving her brother a swift kick. Tian Shui Jia, I do have a slight sensation of impending breakthrough, so I suggest you prepare a method to conceal the phenomenon. Nangong Hao replied awkwardly. Nangong Tian Shui. Nangong Wu Shuang, exasperated, exclaimed. I told you this boy is extraordinary. You refused to believe me, and now you kick me. Bang! Nangong Tian Shui kicked again. What are you shouting about? Do you not understand that to hit is to show affection? Come on, brother. She took hold of Nangong Hao's arm. Resembling a couple as they departed from Wu Shuang Jia, her face adorned with a genuine, affectionate smile, one that Nangong Wu Shuang had not witnessed in over 1,000,000 years. Nangong Wu Shuang felt utterly defeated. Sister, I am your biological brother. After exiting Wu Shuang Jia, Nangong Hao found himself near the Han Tian Bell, which floated above the martial arts arena. This spectacle serves to remind all descendants of the Nangong family of the immense power they once wielded, inspiring them to strive for greatness. Yet, excessive ambition often breeds competition, which can lead to conflict. At that moment in the martial arts arena, two factions stood at an impasse. Nangong Tian Shui, disinterested in the frivolous crowd, aimed to find Nangong Xiong with her charming brother. Just then, a voice broke through the throng, dripping with disdain. Nangong Quang, a mere beast god physique, do not be too arrogant. The Tianqin divine body has perished. What are you worth? Nangong Hao remained silent. However, Nangong Tian Shui halted, her expression icy. These young scions of the Nangong family truly need lessons. Our family's genius has become a tool for others' mockery? Nangong Wu Shuang also felt a surge of anger. Yet, Nangong Hao considered it quite normal. The Nangong family is vast, with direct and collateral branches numbering in the thousands, their relationships long since estranged. Engaging with these individuals was futile. His priority was the signing in. At that moment, the individual known as Nangong Quang arrogantly declared, Tian Qin divine body? What is that worth? He merely died early. If he were before me now, I would surely incapacitate him. Do not think I am boasting. That so-called divine body's father was once beaten by my father before he went missing. Upon hearing this, Nangong Hao's countenance grew increasingly cold. A memory resurfaced from his past. On the second day of his birth, his father, Nangong Yi, had returned home injured. Despite his efforts to conceal it, Nangong Hao's mother saw through his facade. Under her relentless questioning, Nangong Yi admitted that he had been ambushed by a cousin while attempting to capture a holy beast for blood refinement on behalf of Nangong Hao. That cousin fervently claimed he was merely attempting to assist and had accidentally harmed Nangong Yi. Since Nangong Yi chose not to pursue the matter, it was eventually forgotten. Having traversed time, Nangong Hao vividly recalled how furious his mother had been. Nangong Yi was no ordinary member of the Nangong family. He had garnered immeasurable benefits through sheer strength, working tirelessly for the family's interests. It was utterly outrageous that such a devoted figure could be targeted by his own kin. Regrettably, despite his mother's pressing inquiries, Nangong Yi refused to disclose the identity of the assailant, leading to the matter being left unresolved. Now that the true culprit had revealed himself, Nangong Hao could not let this go unpunished. The disappearance of Nangong Yi and his wife, attributed to their son's physique, was already a loss for the Nangong family. To have a descendant of the family mock them, especially the child of an enemy, was even more intolerable. Nangong Hao immediately turned, expression devoid of emotion as he approached Nangong Quang, only to be obstructed by the onlooking Nangong family disciples. Step aside, Nangong Hao stated coolly. Yet, the disciples merely glanced back at him, offering no further acknowledgement. They were here to witness Nangong Quang, a prodigy of the younger generation and one of the 10 saint sons of the Nangong family. The confrontation between these two titans promised to be a spectacle. Even mere observation would greatly benefit their cultivation. Who would yield their position? Want to see? Bring your own chair. One disciple retorted sharply to Nangong Hao. Crack. With a frigid expression, Nangong Hao unleashed arcs of electricity surrounding him. In the next moment, an endless coil of electric arcs coalesced into a gigantic lightning python, surging forward with a thunderous roar. Chapter 11. You possess the power of a dragon? I shall strike you down with one blow. Help! Where did this thunder come from? Run! Someone is ambushing from behind. A group of individuals was sent flying by the lightning python, injured and bleeding, as they fled in terror. The commotion naturally drew the attention of many. Amidst the panicked retreat of the Nangong family disciples, Nan Gong Hao's steadfast figure stood in stark contrast, surrounded by crackling lightning, which formed a formidable battle armor, exuding an unmistakable aura of threat. In the center of the crowd, both Nan Gong Quang and another prodigy displayed expressions of gravity. They sensed a terrifying pressure emanating from Nan Gong Hao, clearly recognizing him as another genius. Yet curiously, they did not recognize him. Judging by his age, he appeared to be around 14 or 15, similar to themselves. However, they had never seen him within the Nan Gong family. Logically, such a handsome boy should have been unforgettable. Yet, they had no recollection of him whatsoever. Nan Gong Quang furrowed his brow slightly and hesitantly inquired, "Brother, are you a member of the Nan Gong family?" In the distance, Nan Gong Wushuang's expression darkened slightly. "Second sister, should we intervene?" Hao has not yet reached the point of revealing his identity. Nan Gong Tianxue hesitated as well. Although Hao has only been with me for a few years, he is a composed individual and should understand the necessity of concealing his identity at this moment. "My name is Nan Gong Hao," Nan Gong Hao stated indifferently. Upon hearing this, Nan Gong Wushuang turned her head and noticed her sister's face darkening, quickly stepping back to avoid becoming a target for her frustration. However, Nan Gong Quang and the others seemed to have forgotten about this individual. "Nang Hao, that name sounds familiar, yet I cannot recall any details," Nan Gong Quang frowned. "Are you perhaps from a branch of the Nan Gong family?" The nearby prodigy also expressed confusion. "I feel like I have heard this name somewhere before." Does it matter?" Nan Gong Quang, with your impressive strength, I would say you are at most at the condensation realm, still far from the opening realm. Follow me, and in the future, when I become the head of the Nan Gong family, you can serve as a guardian elder. Who is your father?" Nan Gong Hao suddenly asked coldly. Nan Gong Quang frowned. "Why do you ask that?" The prodigy beside him chuckled. "He wants to ascertain whether you are a direct descendant of the Nan Gong family. After all, not just anyone can follow, right? My father is the 5th guardian elder of the Nan Gong family. Do you understand now?" Nan Gong Quang boasted. "Very well. I shall remember that, and I will strike him as well." Nan Gong Hao raised his hand and punched towards Nan Gong Quang. Enraged, Nan Gong Quang retorted, "How dare you?" He then swung his fist in retaliation. The prodigy beside them shook his head in dismay, sighing, "It seems he has awakened a commendable physique. Yet he is merely a foolish individual lost in himself." Nan Gong Quang was indeed the 10th holy son of the family and a formidable expert at the 2nd level of the opening realm, possessing a strength of 50 million pounds. How could Nan Gong Hao possibly be his opponent? The surrounding disciples of the Nan Gong family nodded in agreement. While a powerful physique is undoubtedly important, one must ultimately consider their realm. Even with an exceptional body, one cannot surpass a major realm. With a resounding crash, Nan Gong Hao's fist collided with Nan Gong Quang's. A sharp sound of bone shattering echoed through the air, followed by a piercing scream that rent the sky as a figure was sent flying. Yet, that figure was none other than Nan Gong Quang. The onlookers from the Nan Gong family stood in stunned silence. Their expressions of mockery and disdain froze in place. Even the prodigy who had been battling Nan Gong Quang was left dumbfounded, his eyes wide with disbelief, rendering his expression quite comical. After a considerable pause, gasps erupted from the crowd. "How is this possible? That was Nan Gong Quang. He is a practitioner at the 2nd level of the opening realm, 50 million pounds of strength. How could he be sent flying by someone at the condensation realm? This must be an illusion." Everyone rubbed their eyes frantically, yet they only saw Nan Gong Quang lying on the ground and Nan Gong Hao standing proudly. In the distance, Nan Gong Tianxue and her brother felt disappointed in their fellow disciples. "A bunch of fools." Nan Gong Quang, despite being a prodigy, gritted his teeth against the excruciating pain, propping himself up and glaring at Nan Gong Hao in disbelief. "I underestimated you. You actually possess a technique to enhance your strength?" Upon hearing this, those around him suddenly realized it was indeed a technique that had been employed. Techniques can augment a person's power and offer various additional attributes. Moreover, the higher the level of the technique, the stronger the supplementary effects. This is well known. A disciple from the Nan Gong family looked at Nan Gong Hao with pity, sighing, "I never expected you to be foolish enough to use a technique." In terms of techniques, Nan Gong Quang, being the 10th holy son, would surely surpass you. In terms of status, can you compare to the 10th holy son? By using a technique to ambush and injure him, you will not earn admiration or the position of the 10th holy son. Only the family's wrath awaits you. Do you understand? Many nodded in agreement, casting sympathetic glances at Nan Gong Hao. At this moment, everyone regarded Nan Gong Hao as a branch descendant attempting to showcase his strength and usurp the position of the 10th holy son from Nan Gong Quang. Nangong Kuang sneered viciously. So you wish to compete with techniques? Allow me to show you what true techniques are. Savage Fist of the Wild. Waves of blood energy surged from Nangong Kuang, coalescing into an arm resembling that of a bear. The beast god physique allows one to absorb the blood of various beast races, acquiring their abilities and even transforming into a ferocious beast. At this moment, Nangong Kuang manifested the arm of an ancient savage bear, a creature with a trace of dragon lineage, granting him the strength of a dragon upon transformation. Nangong Kuang swung his fist forward, the violent force tearing through the air with a sharp whistle, bearing down with the weight of a mountain. You and your lineage shall pay a painful price for your foolishness. Nangong Kuang roared, convinced of his impending victory. Indeed, the strength of a dragon was beyond the reach of someone at the condensation realm. Even achieving the legendary 12th realm would not suffice. Nangong Tianxue and her brother's expressions shifted, knowing that Nangong Hao's strength had not yet reached the power of a dragon, though he was incredibly close. He had not quite attained it. 100 million pounds of strength versus the power of a dragon represented a qualitative disparity. Nangong Hao was in peril. The two elders immediately prepared to intervene. However, Nangong Hao did not provide them with the opportunity, his body crackling with thunderous light, transforming into a colossal thunder hammer. Over the past 7 years, Nangong Hao had been unable to break through his realm. Thus he sought every means to refine his body. With the assistance of the two elders, he developed a unique method akin to forging steel, constantly hammering at his own flesh. It takes countless trials to forge indestructible steel. This method of self-forging was named the star hammering technique. At this moment, Nangong Hao raised the gigantic hammer, and a wondrous phenomenon appeared behind him: the celestial star map. Subsequently, 108 supreme ancient stars ignited, radiating stellar power that infused the thunder hammer. In the blink of an eye, all of this transpired. As Nangong Kuang's bear-like arms swung towards him, Nangong Hao also raised his hammer, channeling the combined might of stellar and thunderous energies. Chapter 12. How solitary is invincibility. Boom! A resounding explosion erupted, unleashing a tempest of thunder that formed a violent storm spanning Tianzhong. The terrifying thunder hammer struck Nangong Kuang with tremendous force, slamming him into the ground. The formation of the training arena activated, automatically protecting the ground and Nangong Kuang. The bystanders' expressions shifted dramatically. The arena's flooring was crafted from special adamantine, capable of withstanding nearly 3 dragon strengths without activating the formation. Now that the formation had been triggered, did this not indicate that Nangong Hao's blow had exceeded 3 dragon strengths? Indeed, Nangong Kuang lay on the ground, a pitiful sight. At least 2/3 of the bones in his body were shattered, lying in a pool of blood, unable to move. Had it not been for the protective formation set up by the Nangong family for the safety of the spectators, Nangong Kuang would surely have perished. Witnessing the scene, the onlookers gasped in astonishment. This was indeed ruthless. Although Nangong Kuang's physical body could rely on precious resources for recovery, his Dao heart had been utterly shattered. The esteemed Holy Son of the second level of the opening realm had been defeated by someone at the condensation realm, and publicly humiliated at that. It seemed Nangong Kuang would have a hard time facing further cultivation. Nangong Hao felt slightly drained after employing such a powerful strike, panting as he stood in place. After all, he had forcibly utilized strength beyond his own capacity. However, every effort was worthwhile. This was Nangong Hao's first genuine battle, and he had gained much from it. Moreover, he had confirmed that his manifestation could indeed assist and even amplify his combat prowess. Previously, he had only used stellar power to refine himself. Thus he was uncertain if he could also channel stellar power against others. Nangong Hao took a moment to rest, gathering his strength and surveying his surroundings. The disciples of the Nangong family instinctively lowered their heads, none daring to meet his gaze. The prodigy who had previously confronted Nangong Kuang felt a chill run through him, suppressing his fear as he forced a smile and said, "Congratulations, brother. According to the rules of the Nangong family, having defeated the 10th Holy Son, you are about to take his place." Nangong Hao frowned, contemplating, is this fellow truly a holy son of the Nangong family? How could he be so weak? Upon hearing this, the prodigy's expression stiffened, his mouth opening as if to speak, yet he found himself at a loss for words. It was clear that defeating Nangong Kuang granted one the right to claim the weakness of the Nangong family's holy son. What frustrated everyone most was that it was evident Nangong Hao was not intentionally mocking Nangong Kuang. He genuinely felt that the holy son was too weak, To be honest, he would have preferred to insult him deliberately, as at least that would have provided some balance in others' hearts. The Holy Son was the elite among the Nangong family, a position they all aspired to attain. Now, with their dreams being belittled, the disciples of the Nangong family felt as though their resolve was fracturing. It was infuriating. How could such a prodigy exist? Wielding the power of 3 dragons at the body condensation realm, it would be better if he simply spared us. Nangong Wushuang naturally understood the despair of these disciples, as he longed to ask them, "Do you know how I have endured these past 7 years?" Nangong Tianxue, however, looked at Nangong Hao with satisfaction, realizing that he did not act recklessly. His earlier self-explosion of his name was a test to see if it was still remembered. His proactive assault on Nangong Quang was intended to verify the combat efficacy of his unique phenomenon. With talent, diligence, and such strategic acumen, I can now return to the battlefield beyond the realm with peace of mind. Nangong Wushuang was taken aback. "Sister, are you leaving?" "Yes. I will depart once Howard unlocks the second chain of the heavenly lock. The situation over there is urgent. I must assist the Guangyuan heavenly domain and the Nangong family in securing more resources." Nangong Tianxue's expression was grave. Nangong Wushuang sighed softly, gazing at the void with a complex look in her eyes. At that moment, Nangong Xiong arrived with a group of clan elders. "Welcome, esteemed ancestors." Nangong Xiong and the others knelt reverently. "Father, save me." A faint cry for help echoed from afar. Nangong Xiong and the others looked in confusion, only to see Nangong Quang lying in a pool of blood, their expressions shifting dramatically. One of the elders rushed forward, enveloping Nangong Quang in a gentle power to aid his recovery, urgently asking, "My son, what has happened?" Nangong Quang glared at Nangong Hao with venomous eyes, gritting his teeth. "It was him. He wants to kill me. How dare you?" The elder, without inquiring into the reasons or the truth, raised his hand to obliterate Nangong Hao. This elder, a protector of the Nangong family, was already at the sage realm and possessed formidable strength. Eliminating a mere body condensation realm like Nangong Hao would be effortless. Yet, Nangong Hao remained unperturbed, merely casting a scornful glance at the elder. In the next moment, a gust of wind swept by. Nangong Wushuang appeared before Nangong Quang and his father, delivering a kick that sent both of them flying. Nangong Quang and his father spewed blood as they soared through the air, landing side by side on the ground, both coughing blood. That kick from Nangong Wushuang was immensely satisfying, especially after being kicked for 7 years. It felt delightful to finally retaliate. The members of the Nangong family were astounded, particularly Nangong Xiong, who hurried over. "What is happening? Ancestor, what has transpired?" "Are you blind?" This scoundrel attempted to kill Howard. Nangong Wushuang reprimanded sharply. Nangong Xiong froze, then turned to Nangong Hao in shock. You are, having not seen him for 7 years. Nangong Hao had changed so drastically that Nangong Xiong could hardly recognize him. However, upon seeing Nangong Hao's striking appearance and otherworldly demeanor, he instantaneously confirmed his identity. There was no mistaking it. No one else could possess such an aura. Nangong Xiong's expression darkened as he realized that Nangong Hao had emerged earlier than expected and had made a public scene with Nangong Quang. Of course, Nangong Xiong did not believe that Nangong Hao had injured Nangong Quang. After all, Nangong Quang, as the 10th Holy Son, was already at the second layer of the establishment realm and possessed formidable physical capabilities and combat skills. Even if Nangong Hao had unlocked the first seal, he would only be at the body condensation realm. Even with the assistance of the 2 elders, he could only reach the 12th layer at most. Surely, the 2 elders must have assisted him in secret. Alas, they truly spoiled Nangong Hao. Though Nangong Quang was arrogant, he had great potential. Watching him on the verge of being crippled, was it worth it? Nangong Xiong thought to himself, though his face maintained a smile. "Howard, you should rest for now. I will handle the matters here." Nangong Hao did not leave, but instead asked earnestly, "Was my father once a holy son?" Nangong Xiong instinctively replied, "Of course. He was the first holy son." As he spoke, Nangong Xiong realized that Nangong Hao likely sought the identity of the holy son. Indeed, with the support of the ancestors, he had become bolder, indulged by their favor. Nangong Xiong felt a hint of discontent, but suppressed it, explaining, "Howard, you might not fully understand the rules. The holy son of the Nangong family must undergo a coming-of-age ceremony to qualify for contention, and this generation of holy sons has already been established with 10 individuals. You must defeat them with your own strength to take their place." The implications of his words were profound. Nangong Xiong hoped for Nangong how to act honorably and to prove himself through personal prowess. Upon hearing this, the surrounding members of the Nangong family were enlightened. They had previously been puzzled about how Nangong Quang had been defeated. Now, witnessing Nangong Wushuang backing Nangong Hao and hearing Nangong Xiong's words, they understood. It was certainly the formidable ancestor who had secretly intervened. Nangong Quang and his father shared similar thoughts, their faces filled with resentment, yet none dared to speak, only glaring at Nangong Hao with disdain. Nangong Hao caught the disdainful gazes from everyone around and sighed softly. How lonely it is to be invincible. Chapter 13. Doubting me? I shall demonstrate my advancement right here. A cacophony echoed as if chains from the depths of hell were rattling, sending chills down the spines of all present. It was as if an ancient emperor had descended, radiating a majestic and terrifying aura. The crowd, astonished, looked around, eager to ascertain the source of the disturbance. Suddenly, 6 chains appeared on Nangong Hao's body: orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The 6 colors radiated with brilliant light before everyone's astonished gaze. The orange chain shattered with a resounding crack, transforming into countless stars that soared into the sky. At this spectacle, the current head of the family, Nangong Xiong, widened his eyes in disbelief. One of the 7 chains of heavenly locks had been unlocked. What could this mean? He had not sensed any powerful assistance from the 2 elders. Could it be that Nangong Hao had unlocked it himself? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Nangong Xiong refused to accept this notion. Not only he but the surrounding elders also began to recall Nangong Hao's identity through the 7 colored chains. While they were all astonished, they did not believe that he had achieved this on his own. In the next moment, a brilliant light erupted in the sky, as if the sun itself had fallen. Beneath their feet, endless dark energy surged upward. The 2 forces intertwined and coalesced in the air. Observing this, Nangong Tianxue could no longer hide her astonishment. The Tao is boundless, dividing into 2 forms. The earth is turbid while the heavens are clear. The yin and yang gaze upon each other. This young man had once again manifested a unique phenomenon, and it was the mightiest yin-yang phenomenon. At the establishment realm, he would be invincible. The crowd gasped in awe. As if to validate Nangong Tianxue's words, a taiji diagram appeared above Nangong Hao's head, with yin-yang fish swirling and chasing one another, releasing streams of yin and yang energy that flowed into Nangong Hao's body. Upon witnessing this scene, the eyes of those surrounding turned red with envy. Indeed, many seemed to hear the sound of their own aspirations shattering. What was the point of their cultivation? It is well known that the Kai Fu realm signifies the unlocking of the Zifu within the human body. This process begins at the center of the eyebrows, where 1 inch corresponds to the Ming Tang, 2 inches to the Dong Fang, and 3 inches to the Shang Dan Tian, which is the Zifu. The Zifu harbors a person's innate true spirit, linking them to the void and enabling them to sense the cosmos. By unlocking the Zifu and cultivating the true spirit, one can develop their 3 souls. The earthly and heavenly souls are often external, while only the life soul resides within. The Kai Fu realm is divided into 9 levels. The first 3 focus on cultivating the life soul, granting mastery over lower-level laws. The middle 3 on the earth soul, allowing control over intermediate laws. And the final 3 on the heavenly soul, conferring mastery over superior laws. Nangong Quang, who has reached the 2nd level of the Kai Fu realm, wields control over lower-level laws and is not adept in combat, hence his attempt to rely on brute strength. Yet, he did not anticipate his efforts would backfire. This progression is typical, for all cultivators advance systematically from lower level to intermediate, and eventually to superior laws. However, Nangong Hao, with his possession of the yin-yang phenomenon, is not bound to such graduality. Tao begets 1, 1 begets 2, 2 begets 3, and 3 begets all things. At this moment, the yin-yang duality generates the 3 souls of heaven and earth, allowing for the manifestation of myriad laws under Nangong Hao's command. This implies that once he enters the Kai Fu realm, his innate 3 souls will surpass those of others, enabling him to directly wield advanced and even ultimate laws. As the essence of yin and yang flowed into him, a radiant glow emanated from his forehead, signaling his entry into the Kai Fu realm. Suddenly, a thunderous calamity loomed overhead, yet its intensity appeared only slightly greater than the last. However, it was ominously peculiar, for it was yin thunder. The previous storm sought to obliterate the body, while this one aimed to annihilate the soul. The thunderstorm transformed into chains meant to bind the soul, causing tremors in the spirits of countless beings below before even drawing near. Those of the Ningti realm had little chance to react. They either fainted or knelt in terror, unable to raise their heads. Meanwhile, the powerful in the Kai Fu realm felt as if their three souls were being forcibly extracted. Their bodies seethed, their souls trembled, and their wills crumbled. Yet, Nangong Hao merely smirked. His three souls of heaven and earth manifesting and enveloped by the essence of Yin and Yang, as he prepared to withstand the Yin thunder calamity. The thunderous chains surged forth, ensnaring the three souls, the intense current inducing immense suffering. Even Nangong Hao's resolute spirit could not conceal the pain etched upon his face, revealing the formidable nature of the thunder's assault on the soul. Nevertheless, he remained unmoved, enduring the ordeal, for he sought to temper his spirit. Beside him, Nangong Wushuang sighed, remarking on the boy's talent and tenacity, recalling that he himself had never dared to act so boldly at that age. He bears a striking resemblance to my elder brother. Elder brother? Nangong Tian Shui chuckled wryly. He is even more ruthless than our elder brother, resembling the once mighty emperor of divine retribution. The yin-yang essence absorbed power from the cosmos, continuously infusing it into the three souls. Their strength surged, combating the thunder. The thunder's might also escalated. Amidst this tumultuous exchange, Nangong Hao experienced an epiphany. A novel cultivation method emerged, Hunyuan Ji Gong. This technique encompasses boundless laws, allowing Nangong Hao to master myriad principles. The first law he grasped was, of course, that of thunder. It was his phenomenon, his cultivation. Thunder, Nangong Hao exclaimed, unleashing an infinite torrent of lightning that roared through the void, enveloping the chains binding his three souls. Sever. His gaze crackled like lightning as he unleashed a more potent force. With a resounding crack, the thunderous chains were forcibly shattered. Starry hammering method. Nangong Hao conjured a massive hammer of thunder, its power derived from the laws, surpassing even the calamities summoned by his techniques. He swung the hammer down upon his three souls. With each successive blow, a rune resembling the character for thunder was imprinted upon them. Ultimately, he forcefully drove the thunderous chains, which had ensnared his three souls, deep into their essence. The three souls underwent refinement, radiating brilliance and faintly resonating with the melody of the laws. Their every movement echoed with the power of the laws, akin to three supreme, divine beings. The three souls entered Nangong Hao's body, and myriad law runes appeared, entwining around him. Standing proudly, his realm elevated, Nangong Hao's visage appeared even more exquisite, resembling a celestial being. He seemed to have grown taller, his figure elongated, and his demeanor exuded an extraordinary grace, especially under the sunlight. The ethereal glow transformed into a resplendent spectrum, wrapping around him as if he were destined for ascension. His transcendent posture captivated the women of the Nangong family. It is over. I find myself enamored with him. From now on, I fear I shall no longer regard other men. A young lady of the Nangong family sighed. At least you have a chance to court him. What about me? I may never find another man to my liking, doomed to longing for him alone. Beside her, a strikingly beautiful elder lamented her early birth. I shall persuade my father to propose. I will fulfill any conditions he desires, declared the cherished daughter of a protective clan elder. The emergence of Nangong Hao had driven the women of the entire family into a frenzy. Yet, none realized he had only just turned 10. Even in a fantastical realm where maturity arrives early, this was not the appropriate time for romantic pursuits. However, the most astonished were not the women of the Nangong family, but rather Nangong Xiong and his companions, who had recently scorned Nangong Hao's abilities. Chapter 14. What is a saint's son? Hao heir is a divine child. The slap to the face was overwhelming. Nangong Xiong felt utterly humiliated. Not only he, but the clan elders beside him also lowered their heads. Recalling their earlier disdain for Nangong Hao, they felt utterly embarrassed. They had witnessed clearly that Nangong Hao, through his own prowess, had unlocked the second heavenly chain with remarkable ease. This indicated that even if he could not break all 7 chains, he could undoubtedly manage 3 or 4. At that point, he would be a formidable figure at the Emperor realm. In many premier factions, this level is already considered top-tier strength. Even within the illustrious Nangong family, he would be among the pillars of support. This rank in the Nangong family is second only to the protective clan elders. Given the constraints of his divine retribution physique, had he possessed a different constitution, Nangong Hao's talent would surely allow him to replicate his father's invincible legacy. Even Nangong Xiong admitted candidly, Hao Heir, your talent is indeed exceptional. Although you are still underage, you may claim the title of the 10th Saint's son ahead of time. Many young members of the Nangong family express their envy. The 10th Saint's son is not merely a title of honor. It also grants significantly greater resources than ordinary disciples. This branch of the family is truly fortunate. Many remained oblivious to Nangong, Hao's true identity. Yet, he merely smiled faintly. The 10th Saint's son? That seems rather lacking. My father is the first Saint's son. How embarrassing would it be for me to settle for the 10th? Therefore, let the first Saint's son emerge. Is it not required that I defeat him fairly? Nan Gongsheng's pupils constricted slightly, his expression turning grim. Hao, do not act recklessly. You should understand that your identity is not suitable for exposure. As an illustrious family, the Nangong clan's position as one of the 10 saints attracts the attention of countless onlookers. Securing you as the 10th saint has already required considerable effort to obscure your existence. If you were to become the first saint, this matter would be impossible to conceal. Nangong Tianxue and her brother exchanged glances and approached together. Hao, why do you aspire to become the first saint? Nangong Wushuang inquired with curiosity. Since my birth, my parents have been aware of my physical condition, which is why they risked everything to seek divine medicine for me. I do not know their whereabouts, nor when they will return, and I am uncertain if they are in danger. Therefore, I wish to make my name known throughout the entire Guangyuan Tianyu, so that they might learn of my safety and perhaps return. This is the only thing I, as their son, can do for them, Nangong Hao solemnly declared. Upon hearing this, those around him were deeply moved. Nangong Hao was undoubtedly aware of the consequences of proclaiming his identity. He also understood the animosity directed towards him, with many harboring intentions to harm him. Yet, he still chose to announce his existence to the world, hoping to convey to his parents that he was safe and urging their swift return. Many women from the Nangong family were visibly touched, their eyes glistening with tears. Nangong Tianxue remarked with emotion, Hao, your filial piety is a testament to the heavens. But are you truly unafraid of danger? I am not afraid, and furthermore, once I attain the position of first saint, I will withdraw from the Nangong clan, ensuring that I do not provide other families with an opportunity to attack us. Nang hao apfim di solidi. Nangong Wushuang's expression darkened. Such nonsense. Is our Nangong clan comprised of cowardly and timid individuals? If they come for us, we shall fight. Nangong Tianxue shot a cold glance at Nangong Xiong and others, chastising them. I am greatly disappointed in you. 7 years ago, you disgracefully sent our talented kin away under pressure from other forces, seeking to avoid conflict. Do you wish for the Nangong clan that my elder brother built to become a laughingstock? Nangong Xiong's expression changed, and he immediately knelt. Ancestor, please do not be angry. I was momentarily foolish, nearly causing a grave mistake. From now on, I am willing to announce Hao's identity to uphold the name of our Nangong clan. The other elders were equally filled with shame. Their Nangong clan was also an illustrious family, having once produced a quasi-emperor. They even possessed supreme divine artifacts. How could they behave so cowardly? A sense of unwillingness surged within them. They would no longer fear other families. If you wish to fight, then I shall fight. We are all illustrious families. Who fears whom? Even if the Nangong clan were to perish, we will shatter the eastern wilderness of the Guangyuan Tianyu and reclaim our dignity. Ancestor, while I support proclaiming Hao's existence, Nangong Xiong began, but faltered. The first saint is currently away honing his skills, and it is unlikely he could be summoned back in time. If they were to strip the first saint of his position without a contest and grant it to Hao, it might lead others to believe that the Nangong clan's rules are mere formalities and could result in a loss of respect in the future. This reasoning was valid, and even Nangong Tianxue and her brother could not provide further argument. At that moment, a sound of a coffin being opened echoed from the back mountain, and the old man in golden robes, who had once personally sent Nangong Hao into the Wushuang realm, reappeared. The golden-robed elder respectfully bowed. I greet you, third uncle and second aunt. Ah, it is you. Nangong Wushuang's expression softened. Why have you come out again? Your lifespan is already limited, is it not? Yes. I have come to discuss the matter concerning Hao. The 10 saints of the Nangong clan have already been confirmed, and they're all absent from the family, making it impossible for them to relinquish their positions. Even if it were possible, I find it inappropriate. Since he is the Tianqian divine body, why not create a position of divine son instead? The divine son would surpass the 10 saints, not inheriting the head of the family position, but standing equal to the clan leader. The golden-robed elder proposed respectfully. Nangong Tianxue and her brother's eyes lit up. Indeed, why settle for being a saint when one could directly become a divine son? There are 10 saints, but only one divine son, who would stand above all. Everything Nangong Hao has demonstrated merits such an honor. However, Nangong Xiong's expression shifted. How could he possibly stand on equal footing with his own nephew? If his strength were truly formidable, it would be one thing, but he was merely somewhat gifted. Not only was he displeased, but others also felt the same. Especially Nangong Quang. Now that he was aware of Nangong Hao's identity, his face turned ashen. What nonsense branch bloodline? It turns out this is the son of the former Nangong clan's Jinyu Shenhuang, the very Tianqian divine body that nearly obliterated the Nangong clan. Nangong Quang had initially thought he was dead, but unexpectedly, he has returned, and with a bang. However, Nangong Quang finally understood why Nangong Hao had crippled him earlier. It was merely to avenge his father, the Jinyu Shenhuang. Nangong Quang gritted his teeth, filled with resentment. Yet he also comprehended that with his current strength, revenge was surely unattainable. His father had already been warned by the clan for taking action against the Jinyu Shenhuang, and should he strike against Nangong Hao again, he would likely be met with the wrath of the ancestors. Nevertheless, Nangong Quang remained defiant. Should he simply allow Nangong Hao to rise, ascending to the position of divine son, surpassing even the Jinyu Shenhuang? Nangong Quang surveyed his surroundings, noticing many younger members of the Nangong clan displaying dissatisfaction. Were they also unwilling to accept this? A plan formed in his mind. I refuse to accept this. Why should he be the divine son? Although I may not match him, the current first saint is already a powerful figure in the Wangho realm. Before the second saint left the family, he was merely a step away. He is likely in the Wangho realm now. The third saint is at the peak of the Qiyu realm. The other saints are also formidable. How could it possibly be his turn to become the divine son? Do you not agree? Nangong Quang angrily questioned, simultaneously inciting the discontent of other family members. Although the women of the Nangong clan had already been captivated by Nangong Hao's appearance, many male descendants were indeed displeased. Even if Nangong Hao possessed some talent, was it not enough to grant him a saint's position? Why must he be given the title of divine son? What justification is there for someone who might bring calamity and whose future is uncertain to receive such an honor? While many members of the Nangong clan were intimidated by the presence of 3 immortals and dared not speak, their eyes and expressions conveyed their protests. Not only the ordinary disciples, but even the venerated protectors of the ancestors shook their heads in disagreement. They had toiled for countless years to reach their current positions. How could Nangong Hao, merely 10 years old, stand on equal footing with them? Would this not be a disgrace to their dignity? Even if they were to endure humiliation, they ought to summon a true expert to administer it. If only Nangong Wushuang or the golden-robed elder were to personally deliver the humiliation, or even the Jinyu Shenhuang Nangong Ye himself, these elders would not dare utter a word against it. However, regarding Nangong Hao, the consensus was that he did not deserve such recognition. Nangong Xiong surveyed the crowd, capturing their resistance in his gaze, revealing an expression of helplessness. As the clan leader, he could not make decisions based solely on personal preference. He must heed the voices of the people. At this moment, establishing the position of divine son would not garner unanimous support. So even if it meant opposing the 3 elders, he could only grit his teeth and say, "Elders, the position of divine son can be established, but it must be accepted by the people." Chapter 15. I may not possess the power of 100 dragons, but I can. What do you believe would constitute acceptance? Defeating all the younger members here? The golden-robed elder glared coldly at Nangong Xiong, clearly displeased. Nangong Xiong, steeling himself, explained, "No, it is not necessary to defeat everyone. Even the 10 saints do not need to conquer all. What we primarily seek is potential. Indeed, the selection of saints by major families typically hinges on potential. If your potential is sufficient, you will be recognized as a saint. How then can one supplant this holy son? Either your displayed potential must surpass his, or you must successfully challenge him at a lower age or lesser realm. For instance, just now, Nangong Hao, despite not exhibiting any potential, subdued the advanced Kai Fu realm Nangong Quang with his lower-level Ningti realm. This exemplifies the greatest potential and the most compelling demonstration of one's abilities. Thus, the Holy Son can only manifest in these 2 ways. The same holds true for the Divine Son. The elder in the golden robe glanced at Nangong Hao, hesitating slightly. How shall we demonstrate talent? With the Dixue Bei to determine rankings. Nangong Xiong gritted his teeth and declared. Nangong Wushuang's expression shifted, exclaiming, "You fool! You clearly do not wish for Hao to become the divine son." Nan Gong, Tian Shui's eyes glimmered with a hint of murderous intent. It seems the position of family head should be reconsidered. Nan Gong Xiong's face turned pale. He had not anticipated that the three ancestors would cherish Nan Gong Hao to such an extent, even considering a change in the family head to ensure his ascension as the divine son. The other members of the Nan Gong family stared at Nan Gong Hao with indignation. Yet, Nan Gong Hao remained unfazed, merely curious as he inquired, "What is the Di Shui Bei?" Nan Gong Quang, feeling a surge of confidence, pointed into the distance and shouted, "That is the Di Shui Bei. If you truly have the courage, do not hide behind the ancestors, nor rely on the reputation of your long-lost, perhaps deceased parents to elicit sympathy. Instead, demonstrate your own strength and talent." Nan Gong Hao cast a cold glance at Nan Gong Quang, yet followed his finger to the distant horizon. At the edge of the training ground stood a colossal crimson stone tablet. The entire square was paved with azure stone bricks, and amidst the sea of blue, the blood-red stone tablet stood out conspicuously. The Di Shui Bei, once stained with the blood of an emperor, possesses myriad mysteries and is said to be a quasi-emperor artifact. Though no one has truly mastered it, later it was discarded by my elder brother beside the training ground, serving as a tool for the family disciples to test their strength. What Nan Gong Xiong meant by testing rankings was to showcase your strength and observe your ranking level. Noticing the puzzled expression on Nan Gong Hao's face, Nan Gong Wushuang personally explained. In truth, if it were the previous Ning Ti realm, Nan Gong Hao would fear no one. A force of 100 million pounds would undoubtedly secure the top rank. For the rankings on the Di Shui Bei, there exists a separate leaderboard for each major realm. Currently, Nan Gong Hao has just entered the Kai Fu realm, and he must be rated according to the Kai Fu realm's leaderboard. However, even with exceptional talent, it is impossible for him to surpass all the renowned experts of the Kai Fu realm at this moment. Without securing the top rank, he is ineligible to be proclaimed the divine son. Hence, it was said by Nan Gong Wushuang and others that Nan Gong Xiong was deliberately obstructing him. Nan Gong Hao, enlightened, felt a surge of eagerness to test his strength. It was not to prove himself to these individuals, but rather because he had just ascended to the Kai Fu realm and his strength had undoubtedly surpassed 100 million pounds. Yet, he remained uncertain of how many dragons of strength he possessed. Since everyone harbored doubts, he thought it prudent to test himself. With a smile, Nan Gong Hao approached. Upon hearing this, the crowd exhibited peculiar expressions. They did not admire Nan Gong Hao's courage. Instead, they deemed him genuinely foolish. For the Di Shui Bei not only tests strength but also records it. On this Di Shui Bei, there exists a historical record of all members of the Nan Gong family. I recall that the strongest record for Kai Fu realm cultivators on the Di Shui Bei was left by the current top Holy Sun, correct? Indeed, the first Holy Sun, at the 9th level of the Kai Fu realm, left behind a record of 100 dragon powers, a feat that no member of the Nan Gong family has ever surpassed. This was only after the first Holy Sun claimed that merely testing strength was futile. Hence he ceased further testing. Otherwise, it was likely that even those at the Qiyu realm or Wang Ho realm would dominate the rankings. I cannot believe that Nan Gong Hao could achieve 100 dragon powers at the first level of the Kai Fu realm. I share that disbelief. Do not say you do not believe. Even novels would not dare to write such a scenario. Many members of the Nan Gong family expressed their skepticism. Not only they, but even Nan Gong Tian Shui and Nan Gong Wushuang had to concede that Nan Gong Hao could not achieve such a feat. Even utilizing the Xing Chen training method, at his current realm, he could at best manage 9 or 10 dragon powers. Thus, their earlier outrage was understandable. Because Nan Gong Xiong was clearly aware that Nan Gong Hao could not surpass this record, he intentionally prevented him from becoming the divine son. Nan Gong Xiong lowered his head, unable to meet their gazes, as he indeed harbored such intentions. Yet it was not solely for power, but also for the order of the Nan Gong family. Nan Gong Hao did not ponder such complexities. He stepped before the Di Shui Bei, which automatically displayed the historical records of the Kai Fu realm. Nan Gong Shuo, 3 dragon powers. Nan Gong Xiu, 12 dragon powers. Nan Gong Tayu, 18 dragon powers. Countless names flashed before Nan Gong Hao's eyes until he reached the top. There is a record of 100 dragon powers. The Kai Fu realm consists of 9 levels. There are no divisions of 12 or 13 levels. It is strictly a 9-level hierarchy. With each elevation in realm, one gains 10 dragon powers, totaling 90 dragon powers. However, there are those who can break through limits to achieve 100 dragon powers. The first Holy Sun was one such individual. Yet, Nan Gong Hao noticed that above the first Holy Sun, there seemed to be several names that were not members of the Nangong family. How strange. These names above the first Holy Sun do not appear to belong to the Nangong family? Nangong Hao turned to ask. Nangong Wu Shuang nodded. The Dishue Bei is not an exclusive artifact of the Nangong family. It was once seized from a secret realm. The names preceding belong to prodigies from bygone eras. At the very top is a record of 101 dragon powers, left by an ancient emperor. The Dishue Bei was stained with his blood. Nangong Hao understood, committing the name of the pinnacle of the Dishue Bei to memory, Wu Mieshadi. The crowd, observing Nangong Hao's earnest demeanor, could not help but scoff. What merit is there in remembering? Can you truly surpass 100 dragon powers? Nangong Hao focused intently, striving to amplify his strength. Suddenly, 3 extraordinary phenomena erupted behind him. Heavenly tribulation thunder coalesced into a thunderous battle armor enveloping Nangong Hao's form, impervious to all methods. The cosmic star map illuminated the sky, showering starlight to forge a resolute celestial body for Nangong Hao. The Taiji diagram materialized, with the dual energies of yin and yang swirling, elevating Nangong Hao as though a celestial being descended upon the mortal realm. With the emergence of these 3 grand phenomena, the entire venue fell silent, filled with envy and awe. It can be said that had Nangong Hao possessed any physique other than the Tian Qianshen Ti, there would be no doubt that he could become an emperor. However, the Tian Qianshen Ti is a cursed body, one that brings calamity and misfortune to the Nangong family and the broader Guang Yuan Tianyu. Nangong Hao took a deep breath, summoning the colossal hammer of thunder, channeling all his strength to strike the Dishue Bei. The Dishue Bei radiated brilliance, beginning to reveal dragon shadows. 1 dragon equated to 1 dragon power. 2 dragon powers, 5 dragon powers, 9 dragon powers. The value surged to 20 dragon powers, causing the members of the Nangong family to breathe rapidly. Goodness, is it necessary to be this monstrous? 20 dragon powers at the first level of the Kai Fu realm? Moreover, the value continued to rise. Could he truly reach 100 dragon powers? Should that occur, all present cultivators would undoubtedly abandon martial pursuits for scholarly endeavors. If a first-level Kai Fu realm cultivator possessed 100 dragon powers, what would they even strive for? They might as well return home to lead ordinary lives. Fortunately, the value on the Dishue Bei gradually stabilized at 22 dragon powers. The crowd collectively sighed with relief. Though still astonishing, it ultimately remained within their threshold of acceptance. Nangong Quang, who had initially looked terrified, now displayed an expression of pure joy. Although it was somewhat unfair to compare with the first Holy Sun's record at the 9th level of the Kai Fu realm, given that the first Holy Sun had already reached that level by the age of 10, Nangong Hao still fell slightly short. Unbeknownst to them, Nangong Hao had spent 7 years unraveling the 7-colored lock chain, which delayed his progression. Yet even if they were aware, they would remain indifferent. Skill not matching up is truly not a matter of unwillingness. Nangong Xiong sighed. Suddenly, a sound of shattering rang out. What was that noise? Nangong Xiong was taken aback. Others also heard the commotion, their curiosity prompting them to look around. Meanwhile, the 3 elders beside them displayed expressions of sheer horror as they dashed forward, exclaiming, Dishue Bei. It was only then that many descendants of the Nangong family turned their gaze towards the Dishue Bei, only to be met with the terrifying sight of it cracking open. And astonishingly, it was from the position where Nangong Hao's hammer had struck. Nangong Hao had shattered the Dishue Bei. Chapter 16. The emergence of the semi-imperial artifact. A frenzy ensues. Crack. Crack. The sound of shattering resonated continuously. The Dishue Bei, which had stood for countless ages within the Nangong family, fragmented before everyone's eyes. All present stared blankly at Nangong Hao, including the 3 elders. Unable to comprehend how he had achieved such a feat after all, the Dishue Bei was known to withstand the full force of a semi-imperial strike. How could it possibly be destroyed by a mere child at the first level of the Kai Fu realm? Even Nangong Hao himself was bewildered. What was happening? I was merely testing my strength. How did this stone break? Am I causing trouble in broad daylight? Suddenly, a black beam of light surged upward from the shattered Dishue Bei, stirring the heavens and the earth. The defensive formation of the Nangong family activated instantly, shrouding the area in protection. However, it was already too late. A terrifying demonic aura was released, materializing into a colossal skull suspended in the sky. In the next moment, powers from the eastern wilderness and even farther realms were stirred, as they sensed the emergence of a demonic entity seemingly from ancient times, exuding a malevolent intent to annihilate. Simultaneously, an endless tide of demonic energy surged forth, infusing into the skull. The power of the skull was rapidly escalating, its form stretching into the shape of a blade. This blade was entirely black, shimmering with a faint dark luster, surrounded by countless enigmatic runes that floated around it, forming chains. It appeared to be a seal. It also seemed to possess the innate power of the black blade itself. Once this blade appeared, the summoned demonic energy seemed to be completely suppressed, rendered immobile. Dizong Benyuan Dao, Nangong Wushuang exclaimed in astonishment, his eyes gleaming with avarice. Nangong Hao was taken aback. He knew of Dizong Bodhisattva, one of the 8 bodhisattvas of Buddhism, who was said to have the potential to attain Buddhahood. However, due to his vow that he would not become a Buddha until hell was emptied, he had yet to achieve enlightenment. Nangong Hao never anticipated that such a treasure would be concealed within the Dishui Bei, nor did he foresee its remarkable origin. This was indeed an extraordinary blade. It had absorbed demonic energy and seemed intent on enforcing suppression. Beside him, Nangong Wushuang trembled with excitement. The legendary blade of the semi-imperial powerhouse Dizong Bodhisattva had accompanied him in vanquishing countless demonic experts and subduing the realms of hell. This was a semi-imperial artifact. It was said that possessing it would grant one the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation that Dizong cultivated. I have searched for it across 4 lifetimes. 4 lifetimes. I could never have dreamed it would lie within the Dishui Bei of my Nangong family. Nangong Wushuang shouted in excitement, immediately attempting to summon the 7 fierce beasts that contained his power, eager to grasp and claim the Dizong Benyuan Dao. However, at that moment, a terrifying force descended upon him, suppressing him. Wushuang, calm down. That does not belong to you, Nangong Tianxue said, her delicate hand resting on her younger brother's shoulder. Her voice grave. Although she often teased her brother, she truly cared for Nangong Wushuang. Yet, it was precisely because of her affection that she did not wish to see him futilely contend for something that did not belong to him. It was evident that the blade was intended for Nangong Hao, which was why it emerged from the Dishui Bei. Nangong Wushuang, however, could not comprehend this and pleaded anxiously, "Sister, that is the Dizong Benyuan Dao. If I do not act now, others will." Before he could finish, 4 enormous hands extended from the distance. Since the Dizong Benyuan Dao was not within the protective formation of the Nangong family, anyone could seize it. Nangong Wushuang recognized this blade. Was there anyone from other families who did not know of its existence? The overwhelming demonic energy had already alarmed the other powers in the eastern wilderness. Perhaps some smaller factions refrained from provoking the Nangong family due to their authority. However, the other 3 great immortal forces in the eastern wilderness would not hold back. Ha! What has happened to the immortals of the Nangong family? Have you lost your courage along with your heavenly punishment divine body? You're not even attempting to seize such a treasure? An immortal from the Bei Wu kingdom mocked. Nangong Hao's expression turned cold. Once again, it was the Bei Wu kingdom, and these rascals were causing quite a stir. He resolved that his first act of renown would be to choose the Bei Wu kingdom, pressing their proud descendants into the ground. Nangong Xiong's countenance darkened further, burdened with guilt. It was precisely because they had surrendered the heavenly punishment divine body without a fight that the Nangong family was now looked down upon. Consequently, these individuals dared to seize treasures above the Nangong family without any hesitation, even taunting them. Not only the Bei Wu kingdom, but also Dongqing City and the Shihai clan joined in, as the 3 families collectively sought to seize what rightfully belonged to the Nangong family. Impudence. This is the domain of the immortal Nangong family. How dare you act so brazenly? The elder in gold robes bellowed in fury. The immortal from the Bei Wu kingdom sneered. The Nangong family is an immortal force? I recall that only our 3 families are immortal in the eastern wilderness. You, the elder in gold robes, immediately summoned his power to retaliate. Even with his dwindling lifespan, he refused to allow others to flaunt their strength above the Nangong family. After all, this immortal Nangong family had been established by his father. His father was a semi-imperial. Stand down. The elder in gold robes intervened forcefully in the struggle among the 3 great immortals. Just then, a hand from a Shihai clan suddenly changed direction, abandoning its pursuit of the Benyuan Dao and striking fiercely at the elder in gold robes. Poof! The elder in gold robes spat out a mouthful of golden blood, his complexion waning as he plummeted from the sky. Having already been on borrowed time, He now resembled a flickering candle in the wind, seemingly on the brink of collapse. Disaster incarnate. Indeed, disaster incarnate. Nangong Quang shouted suddenly. It was because of Nangong Hao that the Nangong family faced oppression from the other three great families. And now, this had led to their elder suffering grave injuries. Despite the obvious provocation in his words, many began to resonate with his sentiment, especially those who had already been dissatisfied with Nangong Hao's status as the chosen one. Indeed, the heavenly punishment divine body is truly a harbinger of disaster. Its first appearance led to the Nangong family being besieged, and now its second emergence has nearly left our elder on the brink of death. Elders, I resolutely oppose Nangong Hao becoming the chosen one. Such a fate would spell doom for the Nangong family. We beseech the elders to retract their decree and expel Nangong Hao. I second that. A multitude of Nangong family disciples seized the opportunity, kneeling and demanding the revocation of Nangong Hao's status as the chosen one, even insisting on his expulsion from the Nangong family. Witnessing the scene, Nangong Quang could not help but reveal a sly smile towards Nangong Hao. Nangong Hao, how long can you continue to act so arrogantly? Now that your father is missing, you too shall be expelled. The bloodline of your branch shall no longer exist within the Nangong family. Nangong Hao remained unfazed, awaiting the decision of those in power. If the Nangong family truly wished to cast him out, then so be it. He had no desire to linger in such a place. Nangong Tianxue and her brother were infuriated, casting cold glances at the disciples, especially the elder in gold robes, who, despite his injuries, still mustered the strength to reprimand the disciples. I was harmed, yet you turn your ire towards your own kin rather than the assailants. How can you expect to achieve greatness if you seek to expel your own family in the face of adversity? How can I trust you with the future of the Nangong family? Nangong's expression was frigid as he declared that the matter of whether Nangong Hao should stay or leave would be deliberated at a later time. He had just demanded the expulsion of all disciples of Nangong Hao, imposing a decade of confinement and stripping them of half their resources as a cautionary measure. Many disciples of the Mangong family were seething with anger, realizing too late that their attempts to undermine him had backfired, yet their disdain for Nangong Hao only intensified. At that moment, a resounding explosion erupted from the sky. The colossal hands of Bei Wuguo and Dong Qingcheng grasped the Dizang Banyan Dao, but the ebony blade trembled violently, unleashing a tremendous force that tore apart the two ethereal hands. Cries of anguish rang out from the direction of Bei Wuguo and Dong Qingcheng, clearly indicating that the two immortals had sustained grave injuries. However, the Dizang Banyan Dao visibly weakened, its inscribed runes dimming. Subsequently, the blade surged forth, enveloped in a tumultuous aura of demonic energy, hurtling towards Nangong Hao. Nangong Wusong's eyes widened in disbelief as he stammered, "Is it seeking to recognize you as its master?" He finally grasped why Nangong Tianxue had intervened moments earlier. The Dizang Banyan Dao crashed violently against the protective formation of the Mangong family, its urgency palpable as it battered against the barrier. Waves of ripples erupted from the outer layer of the formation, leaving the members of the Mangong family astonished. Without hesitation, Nangong Wusong activated his authority to dismantle the formation. In an instant, the Dizang Banyan Dao transformed into a streak of black light, shooting towards Nangong Hao. Just as everyone expected the blade to pierce through him, it came to a steady halt before him. Nangong Hao stared bewildered at the weapon before him, pondering what had drawn it to him. Others shared his confusion, particularly Nangong Wusong, whose eyes burned with jealousy, exclaiming why? Why would the Dizang Banyan Dao choose to approach her and actively seek to recognize him as its master? Nangong Tianxue furrowed her brow, speculating. Could it be that, as a quasi-imperial weapon, it senses its innate gifts? Her words silenced the crowd, for they could not refute her logic. Aside from the Dizang Banyan Dao recognizing Nangong Hao's talents, they were at a loss to explain the connection between them. Cautiously, Nangong Hao reached out and grasped the hilt of the blade. A surge of power coursed through his mind, revealing a fragment of divine consciousness left within the black knife. Young one, your selection by the Banyan Dao signifies your possession of the Tianshan Shanti. This divine body, while formidable, harbors a fatal flaw. The Banyan Dao can assist you in suppressing the calamities brought forth by this divine body, but in exchange, I require your aid in unraveling a grand conspiracy within the form. Within the depths of the Dizang Banyan Dao lay an infinite void, where a golden, radiant Futuo sat in meditation. With a benevolent expression, the Futuo conveyed this message to Nangong Hao. However, rather than elation, Nangong Hao felt only weariness. Another secret, and one pertaining to the woman at that. He was already burdened with the weight of two monumental secrets from his parents, the revelation of which could lead to dire consequences. Now, with the woman involved, he was reminded of the formidable power they wielded over the entire western realm of the Bunyan Tinger. Nevertheless, it was too late to refuse. With a resigned sigh, Nan Gonghao accepted the Dizang Biandal and turned to face the members of the Mangong family. They all stood, astonished, gazing at him with a mix of envy, jealousy, resentment, fear, and an overwhelming sense of admiration. Particularly, those who witnessed him accept a quasi-imperial weapon capable of subduing a first-rate force could hardly contain their frustration, gritting their teeth in disbelief. I know many of you wish for my departure from the Nangong family, but have you considered who would elevate the Nangong family to the status of an imperial lineage if I were to leave? The confident gleam in Nangong's eyes swept over each member of the Mangong family. Upon hearing his words, they were left in stunned silence. What did he mean? Was he asserting that he would undoubtedly ascend to the status of an emperor, while the others were unworthy of such a title? Such arrogance was simply outrageous. Yet, those who wished to chastise Gonghao fell silent upon seeing the Dijin Bindal in his grasp. This was a quasi-imperial weapon that had recognized him, affirming his potential to ascend to emperorhood. How could they possibly contest him now? This was truly extraordinary. Even Nangong Wu Song felt tears threaten to spill as she lamented, "Sister, my resolve feels as though it might shatter. That was something I sought for 4 lifetimes." Nangong Tinsha sighed, "I must take my leave, otherwise my resolve will surely crumble as well. Take good care of her. If he loses even a single hair, I shall send you to the outer battlefield as mere fodder." Without hesitation, Nangong Tinsha departed, leaving no trace of reluctance. Nangong Wu Song, however, remained in anguish. Meanwhile, Nangong, despite his complex feelings, was still mindful of the matter concerning the divine son. "Old ancestor Wusong, how do you propose we proceed?" he inquired tentatively. "From this day forth, Nangong Hao shall be recognized as the divine son of the Nangong family." The voice of Nangong Wu Song resonated throughout the territory of the Nangong family, imbued with authority. This time, no one dared to voice dissent. Even Nangong Kwang, who harbored the deepest animosity toward Nangong, fell silent. He genuinely feared that Nangong Hao might strike him down with that blade, leaving him uncertain whether to feel honored or pained by such an end. However, just as Nangong Kong believed his silence would spare him from retribution, Nangong Hao approached him, towering over him, and asked, "Is 1 month sufficient?" "What did you say?" Nangong Kwang's anxiety was palpable. "I grant you 1 month to recuperate, after which you shall relinquish your title as the 10th Holy Son and retreat to a remote area to remain in solitude," Nangong Hao stated coolly. Nangong Kong's fury flared. "On what grounds? Is it because I am the divine son? Is it because I find you displeasing? Is there a problem with that?" Nangong Hao retorted indifferently. "Is that not reason enough?" Nangong Kong's expression faltered, unable to conjure a counterargument. It was evident to all that Nangong Hao was deliberately seeking vengeance against him. Yet, who could dare to voice opposition? He was the divine son, on equal footing with the family head, a balance of power. And the family head. Nangong Kong hastily turned to Nangong Shong, his eyes filled with desperation. "Uncle, I have committed no offense. It is improper for the divine son to expel me from the Mangong family. I did not hear the divine son ordering your expulsion. He merely instructed you to guard a distant region," Nangong Shong replied. "As descendants of the Nangong family, you should be akin to a brick, moved wherever needed. Regarding your status as the 10th Holy Son, I also find it somewhat inappropriate. So I shall grant you 10 years to prove yourself. If you can meet the requirements by then, I shall discuss reinstating your position with the divine son." To Nangong Kong's utter despair, Nangong Shong unexpectedly sided with Nangong Hao. Others quickly realized that Nangong Shong would not risk offending Nangong Hao for any of them. After all, the talents displayed by Nangong Hao were exceedingly formidable, and he had the backing of the ancestor. Henceforth, they would likely need to treat Nangong Hao with increased respect. Despondent, Nangong turned to seek help from his father, hoping that he, as an elder and protector of the clan, might wield some influence. Yet, his father merely glared at Nangong Hao with fury, remaining silent. Nangong Hao coldly regarded him. "What? Do you wish to leave as well?" Caught off guard by the defiance from a younger generation, Manga's father felt his anger boil over, abruptly standing, drawing the attention of those nearby. "I believe your treatment of my son is unjust." Though he did not resort to violence, he spoke through clenched teeth. Nangong Hao sneered. Are you instructing me on how to conduct myself? Should you not show some respect to your elder? Do you understand the concept of courtesy? Do you comprehend the importance of respectful language? In a fit of rage, Man Gongkong, his father, retorted, respectful language. Suddenly, Nan Gonghao laughed, his gaze mocking. Very well then, kindly take your leave. The surrounding crowd exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of amusement and trepidation, stifling laughter at the unfolding drama. The divine offspring exudes an extraordinary aura, confronting others without hesitation. After all, he is indeed the divine progeny, possessing an imperial artifact. Within the confines of the Nangong family, he has no reason to fear anyone. It is highly likely that he is intentionally asserting his authority, while the foolish Nangong Quang and his father approach him unwittingly, leaving him no choice but to deal with them. Nangong Quang's father soon realizes that he is but a pawn in this display of power, yet he can only seethe in impotent rage, fearing to confront Nangong Hao. He must watch helplessly as his son is carried away for treatment and subsequently sent off to a remote area. Even Nangong Xiong discerns that Nangong Hao is merely establishing dominance. Thus, he refrains from opposing him and simply states, "Hao, you shall reside in the palace you once inhabited, as it has been kept for you." Nangong Hao retorts, "From now on, address me as the divine progeny," before gracefully departing with Nangong Wushuang and the elder in the golden robe, leaving behind a frustrated Nangong Xiong and the other members of the Nangong family, who exchange bewildered glances, their hearts stirred with turmoil. The members of the Nangong family comprehend that a significant change is imminent. Chapter 18. Hao, you actually have a beautiful wife. Nangong Hao returned to his former residence, which remained unchanged. The servants had not altered either, though the maidens appeared somewhat lifeless, as if merely passing time. With Nangong Hao's fall from grace, they had become the subject of ridicule, unable to leave or alter their circumstances, and over time, they had lost all hope, resembling mere shadows of their former selves. However, upon seeing the striking figure of Nangong Hao approaching, the maidens felt a flicker of vitality. Compared to the so-called kin outside, Nangong Hao treated these maidens with greater kindness. To one maiden, Yaya, who had once warmed his bed, he said, "Sister Yaya, I have returned." Upon hearing that familiar voice, the maiden Yaya widened her eyes in disbelief, exclaiming, How, young master? You're not dead. It's me. Prepare some tea, for I wish to entertain the elder." Nangong Hao replied with a gentle smile. His smile left Yaya entranced, gazing at him with admiration. How handsome! This sentiment echoed among the other maidens as well. Observing this, Nangong Hao frowned slightly, realizing that being too handsome could be a double-edged sword, easily distracting those around him. Nangong Wushuang and the elder in the golden robe exchanged glances, bemused, unable to determine whether Nangong Hao was merely jesting or genuinely displaying such charm. Prompted by Nangong Hao's words, the maidens finally regained their composure and hurriedly blushed as they rushed to prepare tea and fruit for the three of them. Simultaneously, they were astonished to realize that the once derided young master, thought dead, had returned and appeared to be thriving. Might their lives soon improve? Would they return to the days when serving Nangong Hao earned them the envy of many servants and respect from the direct descendants of the Nangong family? The spirits of the servants brightened, filled with joy. Meanwhile, Nangong Hao led Nangong Wushuang and the elder to the reception hall, inviting them to take a seat. Esteemed elders, with the presence of the Dizong Benyuan Dao, the outsiders may be caught off guard. However, once they become aware of my existence, they will undoubtedly return to create chaos, he stated with a solemn expression. Nangong Wushuang waved his hand dismissively. No need for concern. With me here and the imperial artifact in our possession, they will not dare to act recklessly. Indeed, there is no need for worry, the elder in the golden robe added with a smile, though his frailty was evident. Elder, I apologize, Nangong Hao said sincerely. It does not concern you. I must thank you. Your father once spoke of the uniqueness of the Dishua Bay, which we had all overlooked. If it were not for you, it might still lie in obscurity, had it fallen into the hands of outsiders. The Nangong family would have been ridiculed. The elder in the golden robe stated sternly. Nangong Wushuang agreed with this sentiment. At that moment, the maidens brought forth 3 cups of exquisite spiritual tea. After placing the tea down, they eagerly surrounded the trio, hoping for just a glimpse of Nangong Hao. Their hearts fluttered, and their cheeks flushed. Nangong Hao, feeling somewhat overwhelmed by their attention, opened his mouth to shoo them away. Ding! The sign-in location has been refreshed. Please proceed to the Sea King's secret realm to sign in. The system's notification arrived abruptly. The Sea King's secret realm, Nangong Hao murmured. Beside him, Nangong Wushuang exclaimed, "You are aware? We intended to have you compete for benefits in the Sea King's secret realm after your coming-of-age ceremony. Of course, I will accompany you, as we are of the same realm." The elder in the golden robe smiled. The Sea King's secret realm opens every 100 years, and only beings aged 14 or younger may enter, regardless of their cultivation level. This realm was left behind by a being with a special physique comparable to an emperor. Inside, there are not only countless treasures, but also many legacies, providing boundless advantages. Nangong Hao expressed his confusion. The Sea King's secret realm sounds closely related to the Sea clans. Would the Shihai clan agree? In truth, the creator of the Sea King's secret realm was an ancestor of the Shihai clan. It was originally meant to be theirs alone. However, during my tenure as the head of the Nangong family, I seized upon a weakness of the Shihai clan and, in alliance with the other three great families, compelled them to relinquish the Sea King's secret realm. The elder in the golden robe spoke with pride. Nang hao sudili understo. No wonder the Shihai clan's immortal was willing to forego the treasure during the earlier confrontation just to strike at you. It seems you hold significant secrets about the Shihai clan, prompting them to risk opening this realm to protect their secrets. The elder in the golden robe nodded. Indeed. Thus it cannot be disclosed to you. Otherwise, those madmen might risk mutual destruction to oppose us. Nangong Hao waved his hands. I have no desire to know. However, let us keep the coming-of-age ceremony simple. I do not relish extravagant affairs. He felt that such grand ceremonies or festivities were bound to invite complications. Much like the incident during his awakening ceremony at the age of 3. If the upcoming coming-of-age ceremony were to be overly elaborate, it might lead to unforeseen troubles. Nangong Wushuang, however, shook his head. That is not permissible. In our great family, when a descendant holds their coming-of-age ceremony, it is customary to arrange a betrothal to a distinguished maiden. Moreover, a marriage contract was already promised to you before your birth. Given the commotion surrounding your divine physique, it is commendable that the other party has not sought to retract the engagement. Therefore, it is highly likely that your coming-of-age ceremony will coincide with your betrothal and cannot be handled lightly. Nangong Hao responded with confusion. Where did this fiancé come from? Yet, observing the expressions of Nangong Wushuang and the elder in the golden robe, he sensed their sincerity and believed there must indeed be an unseen fiancé. With a wry smile, Nangong Hao asked, "Can I refuse?" "Certainly, but a valid reason is required. For instance, if you find the girl unworthy or if she proves disloyal to you." Nangong Wushuang replied, shrugging. Nangong Hao shook his head. "Never mind. Those reasons are too hurtful. I shall wait a while longer. However, could you reveal her identity to me? I will have someone record her life story and send it to you, along with a communication stone to contact that girl," the elder in the golden robe stated, showing signs of needing to recuperate before rising and departing. Nangong Hao expressed his concern. "Is there a way to assist the elder in extending his life?" Nangong Wushuang replied calmly, "Indeed, within the Sea King's secret realm. Then I shall retrieve it for the elder." Nangong Hao affirmed with determination. Nangong Wushuang smiled slightly. "I must return to my cultivation. You should also expedite your preparations. The realm does not limit cultivation levels, and it is highly likely that incredibly powerful beings, similar to myself, may enter. Does that imply that there could be sages or even higher existences within?" Nangong Hao exclaimed in astonishment. "Not quite. Although there are no restrictions in the Sea King's secret realm, the Shihai clan imposes limitations. They prohibit entry to anyone above the royal level, or else they would face pursuit from the Shihai clan." Nangong Wushuang clarified. Nangong Hao was taken aback. If that were the case, it could still be accepted. Otherwise, if all the saints were to engage in fierce battles within the secret realm, what enjoyment would there be? Soon, Nangong Wushuang also began his cultivation. For the shock that Nangong Hao had given him that day was immense. Meanwhile, Nangong Hao awaited the arrival of his fiancé's information. The information was stored in a jade slip, and by channeling his soul power, the contents would be presented before him in visual form. Qin Shuiyao. The image depicted an enchanting beauty, a true paragon of grace. She could easily overshadow any so-called immortal beauty or top-tier star from his previous life. There were even rumors that she was a reincarnation of a celestial being, possessing a beauty that seemed beyond the realm of mortals. She was the pride of the Qin family, a prominent force in the eastern wilderness. Awakening her Tianyin Xian body at the tender age of 3, she possessed an extraordinary physique, inherently infused with the power of the moon, allowing her to cultivate at an astonishing pace. Thus, upon awakening her physique, She immediately reached the 9th level of the condensation realm. By the age of 4, she achieved the 12th level, and by 5, she entered the mansion realm. At 7, she reached the domain realm, and now, at 10 years old, she should be at the pinnacle of the domain realm. A true prodigy, she could have led the Qin family to become an indomitable force in the eastern wilderness. However, the Tiananxian body bore a fatal flaw. Chapter 19, Warming the Bed and Creating Rivals. The fatal flaw of the Tiananxian body is its short lifespan. Indeed, it is destined for a brief existence. As the saying goes, lonely Yin does not give birth, lonely Yang does not thrive. With only the power of the moon, even with the Qin family's abundant resources, her longevity could not be sustained for long. Although no one knew what physique Nangong might awaken, it could not possibly be too inferior. When the two united, the balance of Yin and Yang would be achieved. Primarily, the Qin family sought to align themselves with the Nangong family and the formidable Jinyu God King, Nangongye. With the support of the Nangong family, Qin Shuyao's physique would no longer be a concern. Yet, the Qin family was not indulging in fanciful dreams. For the power of the moon also greatly benefits dual cultivation. In simple terms, if Nangong were to engage with Qin Shuyao, the benefits he would reap would far exceed what he would have to give. Nangong stroked his chin, pondering as he continued to read. But soon, his pupils constricted. There was a line that read, Qin Shuao, the proud daughter of heaven, at the age of 9, had slain the son of a demon lord. Could this demon lord's son be a subordinate of my father? Nangong mused in his heart. He dared not voice this thought, for even the slightest sound could be overheard by others. In truth, Nangong's father should not be referred to as the Jinyu God King. He ought to be called the Jinyu Demon King. For Nangong, Yi was the 18th demon king of the demon realm. This fact was known to no one, nor could it ever be known. The demon realm and any forces of the Guangyuan heavenly domain were sworn enemies. If this identity were discovered, Nangong would undoubtedly be eliminated at once, and the Nangong family would face annihilation. Had it not been for Nangong's crossing over at birth, he might never have overheard his parents discussing this matter. Naturally, if Nangong Yi, as a father, was so formidable, then Hua Shui Yi, as a mother, must have an even more terrifying background. Otherwise, how could she have caught the eye of the Jinyu Demon King? Yet, this was a secret that could not be spoken of, and Nangong dare not even think about it. Bearing these two significant secrets, along with the Buddha's secret mentioned by the Earth Store, Nangong felt an immense pressure. He was somewhat reluctant to marry Qin Shuyao, fearing that it might one day bring misfortune to her family. Never mind, I shall not dwell on this. Nangong shook his head, intending to first study the mixed primordial supreme intent technique and the Earth Store's fundamental blade. Eastern Wilderness, a somewhat remote borderland. Yet, there stood a lavish palace complex. Here lay the stronghold of the Qin family, one of the top forces in the Eastern Wilderness. Shuyao, I heard from relatives of the Nangong family that Nangong is still alive and seems to have exhibited remarkable talent, becoming the divine son of the Nangong family. A mature and beautiful woman sighed. Beside her was a peerlessly graceful young girl. Her expression calm. His talent shall be determined by me. I reiterate, if his talent is insufficient, I will personally slay him to spare him the humiliation of being rejected by me and the mockery of the world. If his talent is adequate, I will protect him at all costs. Even if it means opposing the entire world, I shall accompany him to become an emperor. The woman smiled bitterly upon hearing this. She understood her daughter's pride and empathy. However, the Tianqin divine body was truly not so easy to cultivate. Well, there are still 4 years until the coming-of-age ceremony. Think carefully in the meantime. If you are unwilling to marry, I shall plead with the clan leader to ensure you are not wronged. The woman, her face resolute, stood and turned to leave. The young girl gazed towards the southern direction of the eastern wilderness, her eyes distant and profound, murmuring, Nangong, you have 4 years to grow. Yet, I shall enter the noble realm in merely half a year. I hope that at the coming-of-age ceremony, you can conquer me with your talent and strength. That night, Nangong had already comprehended the mixed primordial supreme intent technique. This was a cultivation method for the 3 souls and 7 spirits, capable of mastering endless laws and comprehending various divine abilities. Within the Earth Store's fundamental blade, there is also a supreme skill known as the Eternal Reincarnation Sutra. Though this technique did not enhance the soul as much as the mixed primordial supreme intent technique, the reincarnation laws it contained were still quite intriguing, including some extraordinary divine abilities. Nan Gonghao had already attempted to cultivate both techniques and found that he could practice them simultaneously, which greatly pleased him. At that moment, the maid entered the chamber. She approached Nan Gonghao, her face flushed, and skillfully removed her outer garments, exposing her exquisite figure, slipping into Nan Gonghao's bed to warm it. "Young master, I will not disturb your cultivation," the maid said shyly. Although she was not as beautiful as Qin Shuyao, she was still fair of face, and in the eyes of others, she would surely be favored by the young master or the lord. However, Nan Gonghao had no interest in such matters. Despite being merely 10 years old, his cultivation at the condensation realm had allowed him to develop exceptionally well, better than many who had matured for over 20 years in his previous life. Sister Yaya, I did not cultivate in my childhood, so I needed you to warm my bed. But now that I have reached the mansion realm, I no longer require sleep, Nan Gonghao said helplessly. The maid was taken aback, and then became even more embarrassed, burrowing deeper under the covers, too ashamed to emerge. How humiliating. How utterly humiliating. In her eagerness to please and draw closer to the young master, she had even spent money to bribe many other maids to refrain from competing for the chance to warm the bed, forgetting that the young master had already achieved cultivation and no longer required such warmth. Nan Gonghao understood Yaya's feelings, for being handsome indeed made such situations likely. Just as he was about to suggest that Yaya leave, the door to the chamber was suddenly pushed open with force. A guard entered with a cold expression. "Divine Son, I have matters to discuss with you." This guard was unfamiliar to Nan Gonghao, yet he had a vague recollection of him. Earlier, when he returned to his palace, this individual had been watching him intently. At that time, Nan Gonghao had merely thought the man was curious about his identity, so he had paid little attention. However, now, having cultivated the Eternal Reincarnation Sutra, Nan Gonghao had become highly sensitive to souls, and he discovered that within this guard's body resided the souls of two distinct individuals. Every living being possesses 3 souls and 7 spirits, yet each being's souls and spirits exhibit unique characteristics. At this moment, not only did this guard possess his own 3 souls and 7 spirits, but there was also the soul of another person within him. Furthermore, this other soul was evidently powerful and ancient, not of this era. Were they born with dual souls? Or did they experience some fortuitous encounter? Regardless, this guard clearly regarded himself as a paragon of heaven and even the protagonist of this world. Knowing that Nan Gonghao was the Divine Son, he still dared to come brazenly and act arrogantly. In this day and age, it seemed even the most ordinary individuals believed they could be the protagonists. As Nan Gonghao pondered, he not only felt no anger, but instead sat at the edge of the bed, leisurely crossing his legs and observing the copper ring in the guard's hand. "Go ahead, ask," he prompted. The guard, once arrogant, felt a sudden chill as he noticed the direction of Nan Gonghao's gaze and instinctively tucked his hand behind his back. Meanwhile, a voice emanated from the ring, resonating within the guard's mind. "Su Chun, something feels amiss. How is it that this Divine Son seems to have discovered my presence? Impossible. He is merely at the first level of the Kai Fu realm, while you are at the pinnacle of the Wang Ho realm. How could he possibly sense you? It must be a coincidence." The guard quickly dismissed the thought. The soul within the ring remained silent, sharing the same suspicion. However, as their conversation continued, a more pronounced smile spread across Nan Gonghao's face, tinged with a hint of mockery, as if he could hear their private exchange. The guard's confidence waned, transforming his previous bravado into palpable embarrassment. Yet, unwilling to retreat, he gritted his teeth and pointed at the maid Yaya, who had shrunk beneath the covers. "Do you know she is mine? Do not think that your status as a Divine Son allows you to bully the weak. Though I am merely a guard, I understand a timeless truth. Do not underestimate the impoverished youth." Chapter 20. Invoking the Divine Sect? The Mighty God Demon? Utterly dismal. Do not underestimate the impoverished youth. Upon hearing this phrase, Nan Gonghao was incensed. Did this make him appear as a villain? Are you planning to say 30 years on the East Bank? 30 years on the West Bank? Do you intend to say the Divine Son rotates, and next year it will be your turn? Nan Gonghao's expression turned icy as he stood up, his words pressing the guard to the brink of breathlessness. Indeed, he had intended to voice those very sentiments, only to be preempted. At that moment, the maid Yaya, who had been hiding under the covers, peeked out curiously, only to be met with the guard's presence, causing her face to pale. "What are you doing here? What am I doing here? I know you seek revenge, but there is no need to compromise yourself by following him," the guard retorted, filled with righteous indignation. "I can help you." "Jaja, exasperated," replied. "Are you out of your mind? I have already told you that I do not like you." Hearing this, Nan Hao couldn't help but laugh in anger, turning to the guard with a mocking glare. So you are merely pining after her? Why then do you flaunt yourself before me? The guard, taken aback by Yi Ye's public rejection, glared at her with gritted teeth. Fine, I admit I misjudged you. You're not a victim, but rather someone seeking to curry favor with the powerful. But little do you know, one day I shall rise above him. Nan Hao, feeling disgruntled at being pointed at so insistently by the guard, chose to wait, anticipating the arrival of others. Just as the guard finished speaking, a group of individuals burst into the chamber. Leading them was the captain of the guards, who glared at the commotion and scolded, Su Chun, have you lost your mind? How dare you show disrespect to the divine son? Kneel and apologize at once. Silence. Su Chun roared, his expression twisted in rage. From this moment forth, no one is worthy of making Su Chun kneel. Is the divine son so formidable? Is the immortal force so grand? One day I, Su Chun, shall break through the heavens and ascend as an emperor. At that time, you will all be but ants, bowing at my feet and serving as my subordinates. Su Chen's voice boomed, emanating a powerful aura and an unyielding will, evoking a semblance of youthful supremacy. The guard team recoiled in shock, realizing they were intimidated into retreat. Such formidable presence. He has broken through to the Qi domain. Such indomitable will, I have only seen in the scions of noble families. Could it be he is concealing his identity? Who exactly is he? Quickly, protect the divine son. Fear gripped the hearts of the guards as they rushed to position themselves defensively behind Nan Hao. Su Chun, with a contemptuous gaze, pointed at Nan Hao from a distance. Do you dare to battle me? Having been an observer until now, Nan Hao was once again called upon and replied nonchalantly. So you have been posturing all this time, relying on your 20-something Qi domain level to challenge a mere 10-year-old child? This statement caused Su Chun to falter momentarily, as he had forgotten this minor detail. How could I forget your youthful stature, given your mature development? But it matters not. I shall suppress my level to the Kai Fu realm. Su Chun declared with pride, his gaze fixed on Nan Hao. Nan Hao waved his hand dismissively, producing the Dizong Binyuan Dao as a set of thunderous battle armor emerged around him. No need for that. You are simply not my match. Come forth. Preposterous. How could a dignified Qi domain expert be outdone by a mere Kai Fu realm child? Su Chun challenged, fueled by arrogance. Let me show you my might. Mighty god demon, descend upon me. With a low growl, Su Chun tore open a rift in space behind him. From within, an ancient aura surged forth. A power so vast and terrifying it seemed to have emerged from the annals of an ancient battlefield, instilling fear in every guard present in the chamber. They felt certain that even together, they could not withstand Su Chun, and certainly not the divine son at the first level of Kai Fu. The captain of the guards rushed towards the hall, desperate to seek aid from a family expert to rescue the divine son. Master, the mighty god demon serves you. A deep voice resonated from the rift, followed by a stream of black light bursting forth and entering Su Chen's body. In an instant, Su Chen's presence surged, his form expanding to several meters tall, his fearsome visage resembling that of an ancient demon king. With a thunderous clap, Su Chun struck the fleeing captain of the guards, who, now at the 6th level of the Qi domain, found himself utterly powerless against Su Chen's might, spitting blood as he was sent flying. This was merely a casual strike from Su Chun. Clearly, the mighty god demon had bestowed upon him tenfold, if not more, strength. The captain lay on the ground, his face filled with despair. This child is a great menace. Hurry, summon a Wang Ho realm expert. Alarm spread among the guards, their faces pale. Su Chen, a mere Qi domain practitioner, required the aid of a Wang Ho realm to contend with him? What kind of monstrosity was this? Even Yi, the maid, displayed a look of fear, astonished by Su Chen's formidable prowess. Seeing her expression, Su Chun sneered, You wretched woman, do you now comprehend my strength? Alas, it is too late for your regrets. Turning to the captain, he added, You have treated me decently. I shall spare your life. However, do not let your men hinder me from eliminating this pompous divine son, or I shall show no mercy. With a surge of his aura, Su Chun single-handedly suppressed everyone within the grand hall. Yet, Nan Hao remained unaffected. He merely looked at Su Chun with disappointment. So, it is an invocation of the divine? Relying on external power to enhance oneself is ultimately unreliable. Had Su Chun employed another method against me, perhaps it would have posed some challenge. But now, do you think of the Dizong Binyuan Dao as a mere kitchen utensil? Nan Hao, feeling let down, ceased his reservations and lightly shook the long knife. Countless runes erupted from the black blade, weaving into chains that intertwined in the void. After an afternoon of research, he had mastered the first divine ability within the Binyuan Dao. Great Compassion Slash. Nangong Hao raised the long knife, and behind him appeared a Buddha, its face radiating compassion. The Buddha was surrounded by the endless lament of the hellish realm, capable of suppressing all divine souls. The hell was subdued by the Buddha, who sat upon a lotus, raising its right hand to transform into a blade, cleaving downwards in tandem with the Binyuan Dao. Su Chen, aware of the Binyuan Dao's terror and seasoned by years of battle, understood that one must exert full strength even against a rabbit. Thus, even in a higher realm, he had summoned the mighty god demon. Yet, just when he believed victory was assured, he was horrified to find that the mighty god demon imparted him no strength at all, instead emitting a fearful roar, paralyzed with fear. It must be noted that Su Chen had borrowed the soul of the mighty god demon, allowing it to inhabit him and fight in his stead. At this moment, the mighty demon was subdued, rendering it incapable of movement, and even Su Chen found himself unable to control his own body. Such is the formidable power of the Dizong Binyuan Dao. It possesses the ability to manipulate the souls of its adversaries, particularly those borrowed souls. As Su Chen watched the blade descend, a wave of terror washed over him. No, no, no. With a swift slice, the Binyuan Dao severed Su Chen's right arm, blood gushing forth. A piercing scream escaped Su Chen's lips, his face contorted in agony, yet he remained immobile. Nangong Hao displayed no sympathy, his tone devoid of warmth. I forgot to mention, I detest it when others poke at me, so you may as well discard that arm. Furthermore, let me remind you that in the path of cultivation, one must remain grounded, taking every step with purpose. Techniques that summon deities, relying on the strength of others, will only lead to such a fate, and do refrain from pretending to be formidable in my presence. As a human, I apologize, for I was meant to be divine. Have you ever seen a god being mocked? Nangong Hao sheathed the Binyuan Dao, and Su Chen was instantly freed. He yearned for revenge, but the mighty demon had already fled in haste. Caught off guard, Su Chen stumbled forward a couple of steps before collapsing to the ground, his body weakened by the loss of demonic power. The feeling was akin to deliberately kneeling before Nangong Hao in supplication. Overwhelmed by humiliation, he felt as though his teeth might shatter from strain. Nangong Hao, showing no restraint, kicked Su Chen away. Su Chen cried out as he soared through the air in a graceful arc, landing painfully outside the chamber. He lay on the ground, his previous arrogance now reduced to a pitiful state. The contrast was stark and profoundly ironic. At that moment, a guard retrieved Su Chen's severed arm, removing the copper ring and respectfully presenting it to Nangong Hao. Upon inspection, Nangong Hao noted that the soul within the ring had fled, seeking refuge within Su Chen's body. What remained in the ring were merely inferior resources and a tome on the ancient art of summoning deities. The technique, known as Shinma, Qianying Dafa, as the name suggests, allows one to draw upon the souls of otherworldly deities to combat foes. While such a method could indeed enhance one's strength rapidly, potentially amplifying combat prowess to 1,000-fold, it could also lead to the very predicament Su Chen had just faced under the control of the Binyuan Dao. It was a double-edged sword. Yet, is this all there is? Nangong Hao furrowed his brow, his expression one of dissatisfaction. I expected you to possess something of greater value. How dare you presume to be the protagonist with such trifles? Do you not realize that the inheritance contained within this ring is merely discarded by the Nangong family? These are resources I hardly deem worthy of use, and you dare to treasure them? Especially this technique, which might cause a stir among first-rate forces. To me, it is truly worthless. Chapter 21. The heir of a first-rate force. A serval dog? Nangong Hao did not intend to belittle Su Chen. The techniques he currently practiced were sufficient to establish an indomitable force. The resources of an everlasting clan were unimaginably vast. However, the more candid Nangong Hao became, the more profound the impact on Su Chen. Coughing, Su Chen spat out a mouthful of blood, filled with despair. Nangong Hao toyed with the ring, a mocking glint in his eyes as he gazed at Su Chen. It appears you are a formidable entity from the ancient era, reincarnated, or have you merely remained sealed within until now? I offer you an opportunity. Follow this divine scion, and I shall grant you a new body in the future. How does that sound? Initially filled with resentment, Su Chen was taken aback by this proposition, stammering in panic. What did you say? I don't understand. This divine scion has no need to converse with you. The ancient art of summoning deities should be deemed a first-rate force. and there is no necessity to associate with such a useless individual, right? Nan Gonghao spoke coolly, having gathered information from the copper ring. Upon learning of the ring's true identity, Su Chun was filled with anger and urgency, yet he found himself at a loss for words, helplessly spitting out another mouthful of blood. At that moment, a sigh emanated from within his body. Indeed, the scion possesses remarkable skills, capable of uncovering my presence. However, the heavenly punishment divine body cannot cultivate the techniques of the summoning sect. I implore you to allow us to depart, and we shall repay you in the future. Hearing this, Su Chen's eyes burned with venomous rage. Nan Gonghao had stolen his woman and severed his arm, and yet he sought repayment? For what reason? However, what Su Chan failed to anticipate was Nan Gonghao's utter disdain. I do not require your gratitude, and besides, I have no intention of practicing your sex techniques. If anyone is interested in cultivation, stand forth and pledge your loyalty to me. Nan Gonghao scanned the surroundings, his gaze falling upon the guards and maidservants. Expressions of astonishment surfaced among them, for with Nan Gonghao's fall from grace, they had been neglected by the family for far too long. Their access to resources and techniques severed, they had resigned themselves to a life of obscurity, only to find an opportunity to acquire the techniques of an ancient first-rate force. Yet Su Chun, overwhelmed by despair, roared in fury, Nan Gonghao! In the next moment, an even more disheartening event unfolded. The maidservant, Ya, knelt on the bed, wrapped in a quilt. Young master, I too wish to obtain the inheritance of the summoning sect. If you grant it to me, I can bring you the loyalty of a first-rate force. Oh, Nan Gonghao turned in surprise. How can you prove this? My true name is Situ Rue. The maidservant, Ya, spoke through tears, her face marked by pain and regret. Nan Gonghao was puzzled, but the captain of the guards wore a peculiar expression, softly explaining, Young master, the Situ family is indeed a first-rate force from the eastern wilderness, but they are situated within the borders of the Bei Wu Kingdom. Situ Rue is a genuine individual, the biological daughter of the previous family head and the last princess of the Bei Wu Kingdom. However, both were murdered, and the young Situ Rue vanished without a trace. Coincidentally, the time of Ya's arrival at the Nangong family aligns with the period of Situ Rue's disappearance. Nan Gonghao was taken aback, realizing that his bed warmer held such a significant background. Given his previous frustrations with the Bei Wu Kingdom, the prospect of swaying their first-rate force was indeed enticing. Very well, I shall grant you the inheritance of the summoning sect. Nan Gonghao promised Ya, then turned his cold gaze back to Su Chun. What? Do you require my assistance to extricate yourself? Ah, I can only hope that the scion truly intends to spare Su Chun. A soft sigh echoed from within Su Chun, and a spirit emerged, darting into the ring in Nan Gonghao's hand. Nan Gonghao personally adorned the ring on Ya's finger, smiling. This is yours now. Filled with emotion, the maidservant, Ya, gazed up at Nan Gonghao's enchanting visage, and in a moment of fervor, declared, From this day forth, Situ Rue is forever in service to young Master Hao. In life, I am yours, and in death, I shall be your spirit, never defying your command. Such oaths are inviolable to cultivators, for to break them invites the wrath of the great Tao, regardless of one's level of cultivation. Situ Rue's display of loyalty was undoubtedly perfect. Nan Gonghao nodded with a smile, then turned to the captain of the guards, Dispose of Su Chun, but do not kill him. Perhaps he possesses a certain fortunate constitution that allowed him to acquire an ancient ring. He may yet yield some benefits. Let us keep him around and see if we can extract further advantages. As for whether Su Chun might one day grow to pose a threat to me, Nan Gonghao remained unconvinced that such a scenario could arise. The guards promptly escorted Su Chun out of the Nangong estate. Standing outside, missing an arm, Su Chun cast a venomous glance toward the direction of Nan Gonghao's chamber. Nan Gonghao, do not presume that being a divine scion renders you invincible. Do you truly believe that seizing my ring serves any purpose? Ridiculous. Fortunately, I remained cautious and did not divulge the map to the inheritance of the immortal slayer to that foolish old man. Once I acquire the legacy of the emperor, I shall ascend to supremacy, and then it will be time to claim your life. Su Chun harbored an intense hatred towards Nan Gonghao and the betrayal of the old man with the ring. His arrogance blinded him to the fact that the old man had departed to safeguard him. Meanwhile, Nan Gonghao stood within his chamber, observing the maid Ya, or more precisely, Situ Rue as she donned her attire, concealing her exquisite form. With a thud, Situ Rue respectfully knelt before him, addressing him as young master. The soul within the ring felt a profound sense of helplessness. He was the master of a prestigious ancient sect, and originally possessing Situ Rue, the heir of a prominent family, was quite advantageous. However, now Situ Rue had become a devoted sycophant to Nan Gong Hao, diminishing his own stature. Nevertheless, the soul recognized Nan Gong Hao's extraordinary talent, predicting he would attain a position of great power in the future, thus rendering his situation not entirely unjust. Well, Jia, do you wish to cultivate a bit longer, or depart immediately? Nan Gong Hao inquired. Situ Rue's face was etched with deep-seated hatred. I wish to leave at once. I have received word that the son of the mastermind who murdered my parents is seeking to